Live from the CSI Softball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, we have exclusive CUNYAC Softball Championship coverage. Game 1 of today's coverage features the Lightning of Lehman College taking on the Hawks of Hunter College. Hi, my name is Joe Foreman. I'll be joined by Mike Babuski in just a moment, bringing you coverage of the conclusion of this year's CUNYAC softball tournament. I just mentioned the first matchup features the Lightning of Lehman College taking on the Hawks of Hunter, with the winner advancing to take on the College of Staten Island Dolphins in the championship round. The winner of this game will defeat the Dolphins twice in order to secure a CUNYAC championship, while the Dolphins will only need a single win. This game between the Lightning and Hawks coming up at approximately 11 a.m. First pitch scheduled for less than 10 minutes from now. It may be shortly after that game begins. But Mike, we saw these two teams play yesterday. What are you looking for in this second matchup of the CUNYAC tournament between the Lightning and the Hawks?
Well, it was a very interesting Saturday here at the CSI Softball Complex, Joe, for day number 1 of the softball championships. And, it started off with this exciting upset where Lehman was able to come in and defeat Hunter College by a final score of 4-1, and it was a game where Hunter College made several costly errors, Joe, and allowed a couple of unearned runs. In addition to that, they hit in a little bit of bad luck in that game as well, as they hit several balls hard, but right at the Lehman defenders, and what it added up to was a big win for Yadi Nieves and an upset of Hunter College, and that really forced Hunter to play a second game yesterday to advance into this bracket, and that now they're in a fight in this first elimination game on Championship Sunday for the right to play the 4-time defending champion CSI Dolphins.
Well, Hunter coming off a big win against Baruch. The mercy rule was invoked, which propelled him into today's matchup with the Lightning of Lehman College. The Lightning took on the Dolphins in their last game yesterday, the last game of the CUNYAC championship afternoon at the CSI Softball Complex, and the Lightning fell to the Dolphins by a score of 9-1. Yadi Nieves pitched both games yesterday for the Lightning. She's pitching her third consecutive game, through 100 pitches in her first game thrown yesterday against the Hawks, and then came out and was really hit hard by the Dolphins. She looked a bit tired at the end of that game and just kept on rolling. I shouldn't say rolling, but just kept on going in that game. There was no relief to be found for her late in that game. The mercy rule ultimately invoked. The Dolphins win big over the Lightning, concluding play yesterday. So Nieves is back out there in the circle today against the Hawks of Hunter College. She put forth a very strong effort against them when they took on Hunter. The Lightning need, besides a strong effort from Nieves, in order to come away with a win?
Well, they're really asking a lot of Nieves, Joe, and as you mentioned, it really did look like she was tiring a little bit, during the game yesterday. And, Hunter College is making an interesting decision as well, starting Carolyn Bibula in the game here this afternoon. And, they're going to try to save their best pitching for the CSI Dolphins if they could advance into the championship game. And, it was a very big upset by Lehman College over Hunter yesterday. And, Hunter College certainly coming in as the favorite in today's game. And they're going to start Carolyn Bibula and see, like I said, if they're able to save their best pitching for what they hope is 2 games later this afternoon.
And given the way things went for them yesterday, pitching may not be the issue for Hunter College. They only scored a single run on 6 base hits against the Lightning yesterday, but what really did them in was 4 errors committed in the field, unearned runs allowed. I'm looking here, and I see a trio of unearned runs, at least 2 unearned runs allowed by the Hawks yesterday. Those 4 errors, a large contributing factor to that. And again, Hunter only scoring 1 run in yesterday's game against the Lightning. They'll need to do better than that here today if they're going to come away with a win.
Yeah, and Joe, I know you look at the stats and it says 2 unearned runs, but you go look back at that game and, again, Hunter had opportunities at outs that they were unable to make. And, even in that game, Joe, Lehman College was only able to put together 4 hits in that game, and they really did a fantastic job against Hunter College. The only question is, are they able to come out and replicate that effort 2 games in a row, and it's going to be tough for Lehman here this afternoon.
It absolutely will be, and we saw Allison Marr of the Dolphins handle that Lehman College lineup very well yesterday, and the Hawks will be looking to Caroline Pabula to do that here today as well. You mentioned perhaps saving their best pitchers for a potential matchup with the Dolphins here. It could be a risky play given how yesterday's affair with the Lightning played out, but We'll see how Babula fares in the circle against a Lightning team that really didn't do much damage offensively yesterday. You mentioned only 4 hits against the Hawks, and then they struggled once again against the Dolphins, only scoring a single run, and that came on a pair of base hits in the first inning. And I said it during the broadcast, those 2 base hits in inning number 1 of that game against the Dolphins didn't travel more than a combined 15 or 20 feet at most. So the Lightning will have to be better at the plate here today as well.
Yeah, they really will be, Joe, and they're going to need to be nearly perfect in the field. And that was the big thing that they were able to do so well against Hunter College yesterday, because Hunter basically, Joe, in that game was putting base runners on in every inning against Lehman College in that game, and they really put a lot of pressure on the Lehman College defense, and the Lightning did a really good job making all the plays in that game. The only inning that Hunter went down in order in that game, coincidentally enough, Joe, was in the 7th. Other than that, Nieves was working with base runners on in every inning and was able to work her way in and out of trouble, and is going to need that kind of same effort today, both in the circle and out on the field, for Lehman to stay with Hunter here in this first game on this championship Sunday.
And you mentioned a lot of base runners for the Hawks, a lot of high-pressure pitches thrown by Nieves yesterday in that game against the Hawks. So with her pitch count being 100, you look at that and say, well, that's a good amount of pitches, especially for a 7-inning softball game, but nothing unreasonable, of course. I've talked about it before. Pitch count in softball not as heavily weighed as pitch count in baseball, but those high-pressure situations certainly take a toll on a pitcher. We saw that in game number 2 as Nieves was really ineffective against the Dolphins beyond the first inning, was really done in by the defense behind her at times. Against Hunter, 2 errors in that first game as well, and she was able to work around that. Against the Dolphins, Lehman was clean in the field, did not commit an error, but they didn't help Nieves at the plate. Only a pair of hits in that game against the Dolphins. And they really struggled at the plate against CSI. Hopefully that doesn't carry over. Of course, that game against the Dolphins, the last time we saw this Lehman College team take the field. We'll see if they're better at the plate against Hunter here in the first game today. Yeah,
Joe, Nieves doesn't make her living at throwing the softball that hard. But, again, this is going to be really her 3rd game, Joe, inside a 24-hour period. And, I don't care how you look at it. That's a lot of pitching. And it's going to be tough for Nieves to come out again and pitch 3 days in a row. And, there's a reason that teams, when they can, do not start the same starting pitcher over and over again, because it does take its toll, even when the starting pitcher isn't necessarily a fireballer. So, again, the idea that Nieves is going to come up for the 3rd consecutive start inside a 24-hour period, it's going to be very tough, and it's going to be very interesting to see how she can do against the Hunter lineup for the 2nd time inside of 24 hours.
And you make a point of teams trying not to start the same pitcher consecutively, and a perfect example of that is the CSI Dolphins. Yesterday they started Nicolette Trapani in the first game they played earlier in the day against Baruch, and then went with Allison Marr in their 2nd game of the day against Lehman College later. So they have Jackie Cautella waiting for the winner of this game. The Dolphins hoping to secure a CUNYAC championship with a single win behind their best pitcher, Cautella. We'll see that coming up after this game between the Lightning and the Hawks. But as you said, Mike, teams try not to start the same pitchers in each game consecutively. It takes its toll. The Dolphins have the luxury of 3 pitchers who have performed extremely well for them this season. Unfortunately for Lehman, they don't have that luxury right now. The Hawks even changing pitchers from what we saw yesterday. So we'll see how Nieves fares and how this Hawks lineup fares against her, a team that can definitely score runs, didn't really do so yesterday. And it looks like we'll have to step aside for a moment for the playing of the national anthem, when we join you on CSI Sportsnet in just a few moments. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet as we're about to get underway in Game 1 of Day 2 of the CUNYAC Softball Championship. The Hunter College Hawks and Lehman College Lightning will play for a right to take on the CSI Dolphins in the championship round of the CUNYAC Softball Tournament. That game scheduled for a first pitch at approximately 1:15. That, of course, assuming this game wraps up between 5 and 7 innings. Still a long way to go before we talk about that. With the starting lineup for the the Lehman College Lightning coming to bat first is my broadcast partner, Mike Babusky.
Thanks a lot, Joe. For the Lightning here in game number 1, it will be their shortstop and offensive leader, Miranda Diaz, leading off. Batting second will be the left fielder, Arlette Martinez. Batting third and catching, Caitlin Vernon. Batting fourth, Yedi Nieves. Batting fifth, Jules Reynoso. Batting sixth and playing first base, Angelina Gill. Batting seventh and playing right field, Natasha Minia. Batting eighth and playing second base, Michaela Hamlet. Batting ninth and playing third base will be Linda Resto. And the flex player in center field for the Lightning here this afternoon will be Stephanie Cruz.
And in the field for Hunter College, beginning in right field, is Victoria Slavic. In center, Taylor Crofts. In left field, Samantha Malloy. At first base, Stephanie Abolt. At second base, Brittany Salvador. Playing shortstop is the flex player Jamie Durso. At third base, Brianna Monaco. Behind the plate, Alana Veza. And in the circle, as we mentioned during the pregame, is Caroline Babula. And I'll have numbers on Babula in just a moment. As we're about to get started, it will be Miranda Diaz stepping into the box for the Lightning to begin our first game of the day, Day 2 of the CUNYAC Softball Championship. And the first pitch from Babula is taken outside for a ball. Diaz ahead in the count, 1-0. Here comes the 1-0 pitch, and that's taken out of the zone as well. So Diaz quickly ahead, 2-0.
You know, we mentioned Hunter starting the freshman here. She falls behind on the first batter by a count of 2-0.
We saw Diaz do a good job setting the table for Lehman College yesterday as she takes a called strike.
Babula coming in with a record of 4-5, a 5.45 ERA in 61 2/3 innings, 84 hits, 61 runs, 48 earned, 20 walks, 34 strikeouts.
And the 2-1 bounces about 3 to 5 feet in front of the plate. So Diaz ahead in the count now, 3-1, and I mentioned her ability to set the table for this team. Got on base to lead off the game against the Dolphins, ultimately came around to score, and that one's lined softly over to third base. An easy play over there for Monaco, and that's the first out.
Yeah, and that's a big out, Joe, of course, because Diaz is a base-stealing machine, having not been caught in 28 stolen base attempts this year. So big out there for the Hawks.
The batter will be Arlette Martinez, the left fielder for Lehman College, and the first pitch from Babula sails high and straight to the backstop off the fencing in front of us.
Martinez batting .276 on the year, 24 of 87, a double and 15 RBIs.
Here comes the 1-0 pitch, and that's in for a called strike. And I promised you the numbers on Caroline Babula, and quickly I'll give you those. She comes into the ERA of 5.45, a record of 4 wins and 5 losses in 14 appearances and 11 starts. Our 1-1 pitch is on the way, and that's bunted up into the air, foul into the bleachers behind us, bringing the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Continuing quickly with the numbers on Babula. She's thrown 6 complete games, one of which was a shutout in 61 2/3 innings pitched. She's allowed 84 hits, 61 runs, 48 of those earned, walked 20, and struck out 34. And the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed. So Martinez goes down on strikes for the second out.
Yeah, you know, one of the problems we mentioned a little bit during the pregame show, really struggles to hit the softball, and a lot of their attempts to get on base are via the bunt and then using their speed out on the base pads.
2 away now for Caitlin Vernon. She takes a called strike.
Vernon drove in the only run of the game against the Dolphins yesterday with a sacrifice fly to right in the first inning.
And the 0-1 is down and away, evening the count at 1-1. Vernon comes in hitting at .288. Those were her numbers for the regular season, so she came into tournament play hitting at .288. And she takes outside for ball 2.
Yeah, that time Bibula just missing on the outside corner.
2-1 is the count. Here's the pitch, and that's taken up high. So once again, a 3-ball count, a 3-1 count. This time for Vernon, the second 3-1 count they have seen this inning. And this 3-1 pitch misses, so Vernon's on with a 2-out walk, bringing up Yedi Nieves.
Nieves with an opportunity to help herself, coming in batting .257 with 2 triples, a home run, and 15 RBIs.
Here comes the first pitch from Bibula. That's in for a called strike. Vernon, the runner, over at first. Here comes the 0-1. And that one bounces short of the plate as well. Vernon is running, and she is dead to rights at second base. Throw beater by a wide margin, and that erases the only Lehman College base runner of the inning. And they are set aside in inning number 1. We'll head to the bottom half of the first inning. Hunter College coming to bat for the first time. We have no score here on CSI Sportsnet. You're listening to exclusive CUNYAC Softball Championship coverage. CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet, getting set to begin the bottom half of the first inning. And I must apologize to any Lehman College fans listening, as we've been corrected on our pronunciation of their starting pitcher. It is Yedi Nieves. We've been pronouncing that incorrectly the last day, so I'm sorry about that. And with the starting lineup that she will face, the starting lineup for the Hunter College Hawks, my broadcast partner, Mike Ivusky.
And leading off and pitching for Hunter College will be Carolyn Bibula. Taylor Crofts will play center field and bat second. Samantha Malloy will be in left field, bat third. Victoria Slavic in right field, she'll bat fourth. Stephanie Bolt, the first baseman, will bat fifth. Alana Veza will catch and bat sixth. Annalise McClellan will be the designated player, she'll bat seventh. Brianna Monaco will be at third base, she'll bat eighth. Brittany Salvador will be at second base, and she'll be batting ninth. And Jamie Dorso will be at shortstop, and she'll be the flex player to start the game here this afternoon for the Hawks.
And in the field for Lehman College, once again, beginning in right field, it's Natasha Minier. In center field for the Lightning is Stephanie Cruz. In left field is Arlette Martinez. At first base, Angelina Gill. At second base, Michaela Hamlet. At shortstop, Miranda Diaz. At third base, Linda Resto. Behind the plate is Caitlin Vernon. And as we mentioned, in the circle is Yedi Nieves. So Caroline Bibula steps into the box to lead things off for the Hawks. And the first pitch from Nieves misses up high for a ball.
You know, Nieves coming into today's game now with a 10-14 record at 8.67 ERA on the year. So she has been hit during the season. She's been much better, Joe, during the CUNYAC tournament.
She definitely has, especially in that first game yesterday against the Hawks as her 1-0 pitch misses outside. But this is a Hawks team that swings the bats very well. Several hitters well over 300 on this roster, and Caroline Bibula is one of them. Here comes the 2-0. That's popped up on the infield, and that's an easy play over there for Diaz at shortstop, retiring Bibula for the first out.
Yeah, so that time a nice pitch by Nieves. She got the ball inside on Bibula, got it to pop up the short for the first out of the game.
That will bring up Taylor Crofts. Crofts, another Hunter College Hawk, hitting well over 300. Wrapped up the regular season hitting at 349. And the first pitch she sees is line the other way for a base hit down the right field line into the corner. She's obstructed as she rounds first base, but will take the turn around second anyway and is into third base safely with a 1-out triple.
Yeah, that was a line drive, Joe, just past the dive of the first baseman, Angelina Gill. It goes all the way into the corner, and, you know, we may actually have an interference call here on the light. What the final result is, but she could be permitted to score here as the umpires are going over and talking to the head coach, and she'll be given the triple, and that's going to bring up Samantha Malloy, but Nieves immediately in trouble here, Joe, in the bottom half of the first inning.
Early trouble for Nieves, and back to that obstruction call for just a moment. There's no doubt there was obstruction on that play. The first baseman, Gill, was no longer making a play on a ball, so she just obstructed the path of Crofts. I'm not sure that prevented her from scoring, but either way, Crofts will remain at third base, bringing up Samantha Malloy.
And it looks like it might be a double and an error, Joe, on the play. That's what's on the scoreboard, at least.
Well, I couldn't see the right field corner, as that will be an error on Yade Nieves. So 2 errors in the inning for Lehman College now, and Crofts comes in to score on that one that was blooped softly on the right side of the infield. Nieves got there and couldn't pick it up and handle it cleanly. So that's a second error, and reaching on the error is Malloy. The first run of the game is in for the Hawks. They lead 1-0, and Victoria Slavic comes to bat.
Yeah, bad start here for the Lightning, Joe. A lot of red flags here in the bottom of the first.
And the first pitch to Slavic is popped foul over the Hawks' dugout. Well, I didn't see what occurred in the right field corner where we're seated. We're obstructed from seeing the right field corner clearly. There very well could have been an error, but Crofts was obstructed, and I believe if she's not obstructed, she's on third base. So either way, it's 1 run in for the Hawks, and the 0-1 to Slavic is popped up once again on the infield, and another put out for Diaz over at short. 2 Hawks now retired in the bottom half of the first.
Yeah, Hunter hasn't hit the ball that hard, but they've been able to take a 1-0 lead with 2 outs now and a runner still on first base.
So it's Stephanie Abolt coming to bat now with a runner on first base and 2 outs. The runner on first is Samantha Malloy, who reached on an error 2 batters ago, and she takes off for second as that one's skied out into the left center field gap. It falls between 2 Lightning outfielders. Holding at third is the base runner Malloy, and Abolt will hold over at first with a single. So now Hawks are on the corners with 2 outs for Alana Veza.
Yeah, that time they were able to bloop the ball in between the outfielders, and another base hit now, the second of the inning for Hunter College, and a big batter here early in the game. You know, we mentioned, Joe, Lehman struggles offensively a little bit. They'd like to hold it to just 1 run here in the first.
Well, Hunter has already put as many runs on the board as they did against the Lightning in yesterday's game. And it's Alana Veza with a chance to add more, and she hits one hard on the ground to short, backhanded nicely by Diaz. A strong throw over to first, and it beats the head-first sliding Veza for the 3rd out, but not before the Hawks of Hunter College put the first run of today's CUNYAC Softball Championship action on the board. They lead the Lightning of Lehman College by a score of 1-0 heading into the second inning. This is exclusive CUNYAC Softball Championship coverage. We'll be right back with more here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet, second inning about to begin in this matchup between the Hawks of Hunter College and the Lightning of Lehman College. Through 1 inning, the Hawks lead by a score of 1-0 on what is now an unearned run based upon the scoring that we were given. What we originally credited to Taylor Crofts as a triple was instead ruled a double and an error on the right fielder. So with that scoring, the run scored by the Hawks is unearned in the bottom half of the first, and Yade Nieves will step back into the box for the second time. She was at the plate when Caitlin Vernon was caught stealing to wrap up the top half of the first, and the first pitch to Nieves is taken for a ball.
Yeah, and in that game against the Dolphins yesterday, Joe, they kind of ran themselves out of an inning, and really their last offensive threat of the day. Of the first, they get caught stealing in the for the final out as well. So, Lehman finding themselves down behind here early and committing a couple of errors. Big difference from the game yesterday.
And Nieves ahead in the count 2-0, takes a big swing and misses, as that brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Lehman really has been starved for offense the last couple of days. They scored 4 runs against the Hawks yesterday, a couple of those unearned, but really played small ball to manufacture those runs. The count even on Nieves at 2-2. And once again, Babula bounces one well in front of the plate and has another 3-ball count as it's full now on Nieves, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, but she gets to go out working with a lead, Joe, and that makes all the difference because the pressure comes on quick in these elimination games.
And the 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Nieves goes down swinging. Babula works around the 3-ball count and retires the first Lightning hitter to face her here in the second inning.
Yeah, she's worked deep at the count so far, Joe, through the first 4 batters, but she hasn't let it bother her any, and it's gotten the Lightning out without a base hit so far.
And that brings up Jules Reynoso, the designated player. She pops up the first pitch she sees on the infield, and it is dropped. That was Brittany Salvador, the second baseman for the Hawks, who dropped that ball. And as the wind picks up, perhaps that played a role in that play right there.
Yeah, Joe, that was a tough over-the-shoulder play for Salvador, and she's going to be charged with an error on the play, so that will allow Reynoso to get down to first base.
So already a trio of errors committed in this game. We're only through 1 1/3 innings thus far. And coming to bat, and we will have a pinch runner as well, but is Angelina Gill. It looks like the pinch runner over at first base is Stephanie Cruz, who pinch ran on more than one occasion yesterday. She's the flex player, so Cruz running at first base for Reynoso.
She's 2 of 3 in stolen bases this year, Joe.
For a team that I mentioned has been starved for offense, they could look to manufacture a run on the base paths. As taking a few steps off of first base there was Cruz. She's back without a throw.
Gill batting for the Lightning, 288 on the year, 23 of 80, 6 doubles, a homer, and 16 RBIs.
The corners are in for the Hawks as well, as that one's over for a strike. Count even at 1-1 on Gill. And the 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed. So now the count is 1-2 on Gill. They're paying close attention to the runner on first base, Cruz. Gill steps back into the box. Here comes Babula's 1-2 pitch, and it's swung on and missed for strike 3. A throw over to first behind the runner. That's Cruz. She slides back in safely, but there are 2 away now for the Lightning in their half of the second.
Yeah, and Babula already with 3 strikeouts on the afternoon, Joe. So 2 outs and a runner on first base, and the right fielder, Natasha Minier, to come to bat.
So Minier comes to the plate with 2 outs. Top of the second inning, showing bunt. And she pulls the bunt back and takes a ball upstairs. We saw Lehman look to utilize the bunt quite a bit yesterday. They attempted 3 bunts in 1 inning against Allison Marr of the Dolphins. Here comes the 1-0, and showing bunt again. Minier pulls back and takes a called strike. One ball and 1 strike is the count. Here's the pitch, and that's swung on and missed. So Minier swinging for the first time in this at-bat, now finds herself in a 2-strike hole. Here comes Babula's 1-2, and that's taken down and away. Count now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Minier, the second leading batter for the Lightning, batting .326 coming into this afternoon's game, 14 of 43 with 8 RBIs.
The Lightning have had a couple of base runners, a walk, and a reaching on an error. As taking off from first is Cruz, and she's in easily over at second. She slides, but perhaps didn't even need to do that, as it's yet another 3-ball count, a full count. I believe that's the second full count of the inning. This time, it's Minier at the plate. Nieves struck out on a 3-2 pitch to open up this half inning. So Babula's run some deep counts on these hitters, throwing a lot of pitches thus far. Here comes the 3-2, and that's lined the other way, foul. So we'll see at least one more 3-2 pitch upcoming. A base hit here could tie the game now, with the tying run in scoring position at second base.
Yeah, nice job by the Lightning to move that tying run into scoring position.
Here comes another 3-2 pitch, and that's swung on and missed for strike 3. So Babula strikes out the side in the second inning. The only Lightning player to reach did so on an error committed by the second baseman, Brittany Salvador. That runner is stranded at second base. Our score through 1.5 innings, the Hunter College Hawks 1, the Lightning of Lehman College nothing. We'll be right back with the bottom half of the second inning here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Bottom of the second inning upcoming on day 2 of the CUNYAC Softball Championship. In this first game of day 2, the Hunter College Hawks lead the Lightning of Lehman College by a score of 1-0. And for the Hawks, due up here in the bottom half of the second, it will be 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, so Lehman unable to take advantage of a 1-out error as Cruz is left stranded on second. So now Hunter comes to bat in the bottom half of the second with a 1-0 lead.
It will be Annalise McClellan leading off for the Hawks here in the bottom of the second. It is the bottom third of the order due up for the Hawks. And here comes the first pitch from Nieves, taken up and away for a ball.
McClellan batting .283 on the year, 13 of 46, a double, a homer, and 14 RBIs.
Here comes the 1-0. That's popped up foul, evening the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Noise coming from the Hunter College dugout as they encourage McClellan. She steps back into the box. And we mentioned this yesterday, Nieves works very slowly out there in the circle as that misses down and in. But I believe at one point she was issued a warning by the home plate umpire in a violation of a 10-second rule, resulting in a ball on the batter.
Yeah, she was, Joe, and that was the first time I believe we saw that this year.
Her 2-1 pitch is fouled away, so the count evens at 2-2. But it's not often we see that call. You mentioned the first time we've seen it this year. And she's been working at that slow pace once again here today. It certainly worked for her against the Hawks yesterday. And the 2-2 is hit softly on the ground over to short. Diaz scoops it up and throws on over to first for out number 1.
So far this afternoon, Joe, Diaz has been involved in every putout. She caught 2 pop-ups and has 2 assists on 2 groundouts. So she's been busy here through the first couple of innings.
A lot of work from Miranda Diaz over there at short, and more work to be done by Yada Nieves on the mound as it's Brianna Monaco coming to bat for the Hawks. And she skies one out to shallow right field, and coming on to make the catch is Minier for the second out.
Yeah, Nieves doing a nice job here through the first couple of batters here in the bottom half of the second inning. 2 up, 2 down for the Hawks, and that'll bring up their 9th pace hitter, Brittany Salvador. Salvador started way up in the lineup, Joe, and now has dropped down to number 9.
So it will be Salvador batting with 2 outs and the bases empty Bottom half of the second inning here on day 2 of the CUNYAC Softball Championship. And the first pitch to Salvador is swung on and missed for a strike.
She batted cleanup yesterday in the game against Lehman College. Down to 9th here this afternoon.
And with a big swing like that, perhaps I can see why, as that was a big swing at that first pitch strike. Here comes the 0-1, and that one skips in front of the plate for a ball. Count evens at 1-1. Nieves taking a look in toward her team's dugout, and then at what looks like one of those wristbands that an NFL quarterback wears with the plays diagrammed on it, or at least play calls on it, as that swung on and missed once again by Salvador for strike 2. And I think we saw that a couple of times yesterday as well. She's getting some instruction from the dugout and then takes a look at whatever is in that wristband or wrap on her left arm, and she does so once again here. It's as if they're calling the pitches from the dugout.
I think they are, Joe.
So a very interesting method of calling a game. Usually dealt in this case, that's fouled away by Salvador. Just got a piece. I'm not sure I've ever seen that in either baseball or softball, so very interesting tactic used by the Lightning of Lehman College as once again Nieves takes a look over toward the dugout. It's a 1-2 pitch upcoming. And it's chopped foul. So we'll see at least one more 1-2 pitch.
Okay, the winner of this game will advance to the championship round. The College of Staten Island sitting there waiting, having won the first 2 games of their tournament yesterday.
Dolphins yet to lose to a CUNYAC opponent thus far this season. They're on quite a roll. As that swung on and missed for strike 3. Vernon dropped the ball, and the batter retires herself by walking into the dugout. So no need for that ball to be thrown on over to first. It's the first strikeout of the game for Yade Nieves, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Hunter goes down in order. Our score through 2 innings. The Hawks 1, the Lightning nothing. We'll be right back with the call of inning number 3 on CSI Sportsnet here at CSIDolphins.com. And we're back on CSI Sportsnet. 3rd inning about to get underway here on day 2 of the CUNYAC Softball Championship. Hawks lead the Lightning of Lehman College by a score of 1-0. Lehman College, of course, coming to bat here in the top half of the 3rd. It will be 8-9-1 due up for the Lightning.
Yeah, and, you know, if you're Hunter College here today, Joe, you feel fortunate. You have that 1-run lead, and it really does make a big difference in this kind of game. And the bottom of the order coming up here for the Lightning. Let's see how Hunter College can handle them. And, you know, Hunter's come out and played well. They did make that 1-out error, Joe, in the 2nd inning, but lead by a score of 1-0 here in the top of the 3rd.
And it's 2 very different approaches for these 2 teams to play. Lehman College looking more to manufacture runs, while Hunter is a team that can really hit you with an onslaught of extra base hits. A lot of big bats in their batting order that really hasn't translated thus far for them. And the Lightning will look to get even here in the top half of the 3rd, trailing only by a single run. It's Michaela Hamlet leading off for the Lightning in the top of the 3rd. She's ahead in the count 1-0. And then chops the 1-0 pitch foul, leaving the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Michaela struggling at the plate this year. She's 9 for 67 with a double and a triple and 7 RBIs.
Well, I believe she was among the players attempting to bunt for base hits yesterday, as she takes a big swing and a miss at the 1-1 pitch and now finds herself behind 1-2. But the bottom of this Lightning batting order was looking to bunt quite often, especially against Allison Marr. So we'll see if that approach changes against the Hawks, as Hamlet swings and misses, but that one gets by and to the backstop, and no play for Veza, who was forced to eat that ball. And taking first base on the strikeout will be Michaela Hamlet, so credit Caroline Bibula with a strikeout. That will be her 5th but the leadoff runner reaches first base, and that brings up Linda Resto.
And that's the 21st strikeout in 68 at-bats for Hamlet, but she ends up on first base. I would think that would be a pass ball, Joe, and that gets the Lightning with a base runner.
Well, I would agree with you on that pass ball, as that sacrifice bunt is laid down by Linda Resto. She's retired over at first base, but moving over to second is Hamlet. And the Lightning now have the tying run in scoring position with only one out and the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, and that's a big base runner down at second base, because now you have an opportunity with your leading batter coming in batting .465 on the year, who lined out hard to third. A big opportunity here for the Lightning to get back and tie up this game.
And I'm not sure they could ask for a better situation right now, with the exception of maybe the runner being on third, as they have one of their best hitters at the plate, arguably their best hitter at the plate now, with only one out and a runner in scoring position. A base hit very well could tie this game up. Diaz ahead in the count, 1-0. And the pitch from Pibula is popped up, foul behind us and over the bleachers, so the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, Diaz really having a fabulous year for the Lightning. 46 of 99, she scored 48 runs, 9 doubles, 3 triples, 5 homers, and 39 RBIs.
And the 1-1 pitch bounces in front of the plate. We've seen that several times already here in this game, mostly from Pibula, but Nieves on one occasion as well. And that ball puts Diaz ahead in the count, 2-1. And the 2-1 is popped foul. Count evens at 2-2 now, and with first base open. You don't have to attack Diaz here if you don't want to, but with 2 strikes, you would think Pibula will look to put her away. Here comes the 2-2, and it's lined right back to Pibula, who throws on over to her shortstop, covering second base to complete the double play. So Diaz lines into that double play, and that will retire the Lightning here in the top half of the third. A base runner reached on the strikeout that became a pass ball, and that runner is ultimately erased on that inning-ending double play. Our score heading into the bottom of the third inning: Hunter College 1, Lehman College 0. We'll be right back with the bottom half of the third when we return on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com. And we're back on CSI Sportsnet, bottom half of the third, about to get started after the Lightning had their best chance of this game in the top of the second. The top half of this third inning. Mike, they got a runner on base who struck out, and then on the pass ball was able to take first base, but their big bat, Miranda Diaz, couldn't drive the run in.
Yeah, Diaz hit the ball hard, but right back to Pibula, who turned it into an inning-ending double play.
So an unfortunate break for the Lightning, as they only got one chance for the runner in scoring position, as the runner was doubled off second base. And for the Hawks here in the bottom half of the third inning, it's back to the top of the order with Caroline Pibula. She popped out to shortstop in her first at-bat, finds herself ahead in the count, 1-0 here. And that's pulled foul down the right field line and out of play, evening the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
So second time through the lineup now for Nieves, and you know most of these Hunter College players have seen her 5 times now, Joe. So she's done very well, changing it up a little bit and pitching very well against Hunter here both days.
And that misses just outside, bringing the count to 2-1. And Nieves has considerably slowed down her pace, as I mentioned before, and clearly is getting pitch calls from the dugout, sometimes going to that wristband 2 or 3 times prior to delivering. Here comes the 2-1. That's in for a called strike, and I'm not sure she was using that method back in the first inning, so it looks like this was something that was started in the previous inning, and it seems to be something that has worked pretty well over the last 2 days and 2 meetings between these two teams. Here's the 2-2 pitch. That's fouled away.
Yeah, you know, she really does a good job keeping hitters off balance, Joe. She did it in the game yesterday against Hunter, and, you know, she did it pretty well against the Dolphins, too. And, you know, it looks like it's not coming up that fast, but she doesn't have that many players make very solid contact against her.
And that's it out to center field, and settling underneath it is Cruz to retire Bibula for the first out.
Yeah, Stephanie Cruz has played very good center field here in this CUNYAC tournament all weekend long, makes the play there for the first out.
And we have seen quite a few errors over the last couple of days, 3 errors already in this game. But we've also seen some very good plays out there in the outfield, plays that aren't necessarily made that often at this level, and that's taken for ball 1 by Taylor Crofts.
Crofts had that double and went to third on the error and came around to score the only run for the Hawks today. She's 1 for 1.
Want to know the count on Crofts. Here comes the pitch. And that's taken for ball 2. So Nieves will be forced to work from behind in the count here. She's done a good job of working ahead most of this game.
Yeah, and you know, Hunter really would like to get at least another run or two across, Joe. Just give themselves a little bit of breathing room here in this opening game on Championship Sunday.
2-0 is the count, and Crofts takes a strike. If you're Hunter, as you said, Mike, of course, you want to extend your lead even more so given the fact that you only scored a single run yesterday against this Lightning team. You don't want to find yourself in a similar position again where that leaves the door wide open for Lehman College to get back in this game and maybe win it. As it up and in by Crofts for ball 3.
And Hunter did have a 1-0 game in the lead in that game, Joe, before the Hawks came back to win it.
They're hoping to avoid following a similar script here today, as Nieves will look to avoid issuing her first walk, and Crofts fouls the 3-1 pitch away. So we'll see at least one more pitch in this at-bat. The count now full at 3-2.
Yeah, and Crofts didn't really have a good cut at that one, Joe, but did a nice job fouling the ball off and giving herself life at 3-2.
And now Crofts will switch to the opposite batter's box and complete this at-bat as a right-handed hitter with 2 strikes. And that's taken down and in for ball 4. So rather than looking to slap one down the third baseline with 2 strikes, Crofts moves over to the opposite batter's box and draws a walk. That's the first walk issued by Yade Nieves.
And Crofts is 6 of 7 in stolen bases, Joe, so she is a threat down at first base with the left fielder, Samantha Malloy, coming to bat.
Malloy reached on an error in the first inning. And she shows bunt as Crofts is running. A good throw, and it's in time. Crofts tagged on the back of the helmet, and she is erased for the second out. So a strong throw there from behind the plate by Caitlin Vernon. A nicely done, or nicely applied tag from the shortstop, Miranda Diaz, who, with her momentum carrying her towards second base and overrunning the bag just a bit, was able to slap that tag on the back of Crofts' helmet.
Yeah, great defensive play that time by the Lightning to get a big second out here in the third.
So a nice job all around there on that caught stealing by Lehman College. And once again now, Nieves finds herself behind in the count 2-0 against Samantha Malloy. Base is now empty. That's hit hard off the foot of Nieves. And the throw to first is in time. A nice stretch over there at first base by Angelina Gill. We'll see if Nieves is all right during the break in between innings. But as it stands right now, we're through 3 full here at the CSI Softball Complex on day 2 of the CUNYAC Softball Championship. Our score, Hunter College 1, Lehman College 0. We'll be right back with the 4th inning here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet, fourth inning, about to get started. Hunter leading Lehman by a score of 1-0 here on day 2 of the CUNYAC Softball Championship. And for the Lightning, still looking for their first base hit in this game. It will be 2, 3, and 4 to face Caroline Babula of the Hawks.
And what a great job being done here by Nieves, getting through the top of the Hawk lineup once again, Joe. And she's only allowed 2 runs to the Hawks here in a couple of games. She took that one off the foot as the Lightning finished the inning with a 1-6-3 for the final out.
The corners are in here for the Hawks, as Arlette Martinez is the batter. She takes ball 1 to get ahead in the count early in this at-bat, but it looks like Hunter is expecting a bunt. And that's in for a called strike.
Martinez coming into today's game batting .276, just 1 extra base hit, that a double, and 15 RBIs.
And the 1-1 to Martinez is fouled away for strike 2. Martinez struck out back in the first. That's one of 5 strikeouts for Babula.
Coming into today's game, Joe, the Lightning have struck out 184 times in 800 at-bats. That's almost 1 in 4.
And that is obscenely high strikeout rate by any standard. And they'll look to avoid adding to that right here as the count evens at 2-2 on Martinez. And that one slapped on the ground over to short. Strong throw over to first base by Durso. And that retires Martinez for the first out.
Yeah, Martinez puts a lot of pressure on with her speed, but a nice play by Dorso to handle it cleanly and get it over to a Bolt in plenty of time for the first out here in the 4th.
So it will be the catcher, Caitlin Vernon, coming to bat with 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Vernon walked and then was caught stealing in the first inning. And she takes a called strike. Lehman still looking for their first base hit. And the 0-1 is swung on and missed by Vernon. She's quickly in a 2-strike hole now, 0-2 the count.
And another pitcher doing a very good job is Babula for the Hawks, Joe, pitching in an elimination game. She's yet to allow a base hit.
Here comes the 0-2 pitch, and that's taken down and away for ball 1. We just mentioned the strikeout total for Babula. She's looking for that one skied out to left field. It turns around the left fielder Malloy, but she gets under it, tracks it down, and makes the catch for out number 2.
Yeah, and that ball just kept drifting and drifting back, but Malloy stuck with it and made the catch for the second out. 2 up, 2 down quickly for the Lightning in their half of the 4th.
It's been on and off with the wind so far here today. At times the wind has been blowing a bit, but not necessarily right now. The flag stationary on the flagpole out there beyond the left field wall as Yara Nieves takes the first pitch of her second at bat for ball 1.
Nieves struck out in the second. She's 0 for 1, coming up with 2 out in the 4th, looking to help herself, trailing by a score of 1-0.
And the 1-0 pitch is taken for ball 2. So Nieves quickly ahead in the count, 2-0. And we had some great weather here yesterday, aside from some light rain for very brief periods, no more than 5 minutes at a time, as that one's blooped into shallow left center over the head of the shortstop, Durso. And that's down for a base hit. And a 2-out single off the bat of Yara Nieves will prolong the top half of the 4th and bring up Jules Reynoso.
Yeah, and, you know, that time Nieves didn't hit the ball hard, Joe, but he hit it hard enough, or she hit it hard enough, I should say, to get it over Dorso's head for the first hit of the afternoon for the Hawks, who get another base runner here in the 4th. And Nieves is 7 of 8, Joe, in stolen bases this year.
And I don't think there's much of a doubt that at some point during this at-bat, Lehman College will look to have Nieves steal a base. We'll see at what point it is that they try it, as the first pitch of this at-bat to Reynoso is taken for a called strike. And going back to that single for just a moment, Durso's first break was in, and once she broke in, there was no chance for her to recover. And that is the first hit of the game for Lehman College, but that base runner is in danger of being stranded now as the count is 0-2 on Reynoso.
And Reynoso with just 3 extra base hits in 81 at-bats coming into today's game, all 3 doubles.
And if Nieves doesn't move up, it will take an extra base hit to score her from first. So the Lightning still looking for their first run of the game now. Have Reynoso at the plate. She faces a 1-2 count. Here's the pitch, and that's hit softly on the ground. Back to Babula. She scoops it up, and the underhand toss over to first base is in time to retire the side. So the Lightning strand Yade Nieves over at first base. Her 2-out single does not produce a run. Heading into the bottom half of the 4th inning, our score remains Hunter College 1, Lehman College 0. We'll be right back with coverage of the bottom half of the 4th inning here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com. And we're back on CSI Sportsnet, bottom half of the 4th. About to get underway from the CSI softball complex. Hunter leads Lehman by a score of 1-0. And for the Hawks here in the bottom half of the 4th inning, it will be 6, 7, and 8. And this Hawks lineup, after a pretty promising start to the game, or excuse me, I'm looking at Lehman College lineup, it will be 4, 5, and 6 for the Hawks as I failed to flip my scorecard over. But as I was saying, this Hunter College lineup got off to a promising start. The second at bat of the game, Taylor Cross doubled and then advanced to third on an error. Since then, only a single base hit. That hit was by Stephanie Abolt in the first inning as well. And since that first inning, Yade Nieves has done a good job keeping Hunter College off the board.
Yeah, and Hunter was able to take advantage of a couple of errors in that inning by Lehman College for an unearned run. 1-0 as we head now into the bottom of the 4th.
Still a 1-run game, and Victoria Slavic will look to get Hunter College started on the path to changing that as she fouls back the first pitch of the at-bat. It's been a nice job done by Yade Nieves, as I just mentioned, keeping Hunter off the board since that first inning. She only allowed a single run yesterday. You mentioned, Mike, that Hunter led 1-0 in yesterday's game as well. They'll look to make that lead hold up here today as the 0-1 pitch misses down and away in the dirt for ball 1.
And Slavic, the second leading batter and the highest batting average among regulars for the Hawks, coming in batting .369, 24 of 65, 2 homers, and 19 RBIs for the 4-year starter for the Hawks.
1 ball and 1 strike is the count. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes as Slavic takes a called strike 2. Nieves did not take a look towards her dugout prior to this 1-2 pitch. Here it comes. And that's hit hard back up the middle for a base hit. So Victoria Slavic takes the 1-2 pitch and rips it up the middle into center field. And that's the first Hawks base hit since the first inning. They have a leadoff base runner.
Yeah, and probably one of the hardest hit balls they've had of this game, Joe. A nice solid single by Slavic, and that's going to bring up Stephanie Abolt, who had a single in the first inning here for Hunter College. And, you know, again, Hunter looking for at least a run or two and try to give themselves a little breathing space here against the Lightning.
And the first pitch to Abolt misses down and in. They'll throw behind the runner, who barely got her hand back on first base. That was Slavic. She slid in, and her slide got her there well before that throw, but her hand was not planted on first base, and she just got the hand back on there in time.
Slavic just 2 of 3 in stolen bases this year.
Abolt ahead in the count, 1-0, a softly hit ground to third. Throw goes to second for the lead runner, and the lead runner, Slavic, is retired. So a fielder's choice for Abolt as Slavic is erased from the base pads, and Abolt trades places with her predecessor. Now 1 out in the Hawks' half of the 4th inning.
Nice play by Resto that time to get the lead runner 5-4. So it'll be Abolt going down to first base, but now with 1 out.
1 away, Alana Veza the batter, and she takes a called strike.
Veza, one of the hot hitters of late for Hunter College. Hunter with 3 hits here in this first game.
0-1 is the count. There's a showing bunt, and that one gets by Vernon and to the gate behind home plate, and that will allow Abolt to advance over to second base. So another runner in scoring position for the Hawks, and they have a chance now to extend their lead with a base hit.
Yeah, that looked like a pass ball on that one, Joe, and, you know, that allows A-Bolt to get into scoring position, and that's a big run sitting out at second base for Hunter College.
We spoke about high-pressure pitches by Nieves, and there are certainly some upcoming here now, as that's chopped foul by Veza, bringing the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And Nieves pitching a little bit of tough luck. It was those couple of errors that allowed that first run to score in the first inning, and now a pass ball puts a little more pressure on Nieves as it allows a ball to get into scoring position.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch, and that's hit softly on the ground, foul. So we'll see at least one more 1-2 pitch.
Nice job by Veza fighting off a pitch he really couldn't do much with, and gives her an opportunity to get a look at another one.
There's not much give in this Hawks lineup, but ideally for Nieves, you'd like to get to the bottom of the batting order starting off the next inning. She has a chance to do that if she can get out of this. And the 1-2 hits softly right back to Nieves, and her throw is a poor one, but keeping her foot on the first base bag is Angelina Gill, and that is the second out of the inning, as it doesn't look like the runner is heading back to the dugout, so they're going to say she came off the bag.
I thought the home plate umpire said she was set. I'm sorry. I thought I saw the first base umpire call her out, Joe.
He did.
So I don't know why she's standing on first base if the first base umpire calls her out. So we'll have to see how that goes. But, you know, an interesting play that time, Joe, because it was a one-hopper back to Nieves. It looked like she could have turned around and gotten a Bolt easily at third base. Instead, she didn't even look at a Bolt going to first base, getting the shore out for the second out. Not necessarily a bad play, but put pressure on her to get McClellan here for the third out.
Certainly puts pressure on Nieves, but let's take a look at that play for a moment once again. Of course, not on video, but going back just to analyze for a moment. If she makes that throw to third base without the forced play, in play, then A-Bolt is standing on third, and there are runners on the corners with only 1 out. So given the bad throw, perhaps a fortunate break for the Lightning that Nieves didn't take a look over at third, is it will be McClellan, the batter, Annalise McClellan. Runner on third, 2 outs. She's ahead in the count, 1-0. Here comes the 1-0 pitch from Nieves, and that's hit slowly on the ground to third. And the throw over there from third, Resto's throw right on target for the third out. So Hunter College with an opportunity to add to their lead. They failed to do so. Our score heading into the 5th. Hunter College 1, Lehman College nothing. We'll be right back with more CUNYAC Softball Championship coverage here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Top of the 5th, about to get started. Hunter leads Lehman by a score of 1-0. And since the first inning, really haven't seen much action in this one. Hunter scored their lone run back in the first, picked up a pair of base hits. Since then, only 1 hit for each side over the last 3 innings, though Hunter and Lehman both have moved runners into scoring position since the first inning. Neither team has scored a run since. For the Lightning here in the top half of the 5th inning, it's 6, 7, and 8. And it's Angelina Gill who dribbles one down the first baseline, and A-Bolt flips over to the second baseman, Salvador. Gill quickly retired for out number 1. The batter will be Natasha Minier. She's 0 for 1 and struck out back in the second. comes Babula's first pitch, and that's hit softly on the ground down the third base line. And that's an easy play for Monaco, who throws on over to Abolt at first for the second out, and they were quickly 2 away, I believe, on only 2 pitches here in this 5th inning.
Yeah, it has been 2 pitches, Joe, and, Babula, just a freshman, getting the ball in an elimination game, really doing a great job allowing just 1 blue pit single so far through 4 2/3.
So far, so good for Babula, and she will have herself a 3-pitch inning as 3 Lehman College hitters dribble the ball weakly on the infield and are set down in order. We're through 4 1/2 here at the CSI Softball Complex. Hunter 1, Lehman nothing. We'll be right back with the bottom half of the 5th here on CSI Sportsnet at CSIDolphins.com. And we're back on CSI Sportsnet with the call of the bottom half of inning number 5. Hunter still leads Lehman by a score of 1-0. Our only run in this game scored back in inning number 1. Since then, only a pair of base hits, 1 aside as well. 3 errors, all committed back in the first inning, 2 by the Lightning and 1 by the Hawks. So we still stand with a 1-0 score beginning the bottom half of the 5th, and the Hawks will look to add to their lead. It will be Brianna Monaco leading off for Hunter College. And she hits one hard on the ground to third, but it's handled nicely by Resto. Her throw is in time, and the last 4 pitches of this game have yielded 4 outs.
And the left side of the infield has played extremely well for Lehman College throughout these CUNYAC championships. Both Linda Resto at third and Miranda Diaz at shortstop have played very good defensively. Nice play that time by Resto, 1 up, 1 down for the Hawks. 4 outs on the last 4 pitches, Joe.
Brittany Salvador, the batter. She's 0 for 1, struck out back in the 2nd inning. And the first pitch is popped up, and make that 5 outs on 5 straight pitches, much to the delight of some of the fans here, as there are now 2 away in the Hawks' half of the 5th inning.
Yeah, you talk about pitching efficiently, Joe.
It doesn't get any more efficient than this. 1 pitch outs. And Nieves and Babula in the circle have to be happy about that. And that string of consecutive outs on a single pitch comes to an end as some of the fans here asking, why didn't she swing? So they're having a good time with it as the count is 0-1 on Caroline Babula. And she fouls away the 0-1 pitch and finds herself quickly in a 2-strike hole.
We should mention, Joe, that the baseball tournament going to start shortly as well. The Dolphins will play Baruch. Baruch coming in as the number 1 seed, only needs to win 1 game. The Dolphins will have to beat them twice to come all the way back after losing the opening game of the tournament to John Jay, 6-4.
Here comes the 0-2 to Babula, and that one bounces in. And going back to the topic of the baseball championship for just a moment, earlier this season, Victor Flores and I covered a game between the Bearcats and the Dolphins, a game that was won by the Dolphins in extra innings. The 2 teams went back and forth late in that one. We spoke about how exciting it would be if these 2 teams met again in the CUNYAC baseball championships. The standings dictated that in all likelihood they would. And despite a loss to John Jay, the Dolphins picked up a couple of wins yesterday and found themselves back in the championship round once again for the 2nd consecutive year against Baruch. That game begins at 12 p.m. We'll have updates for you as long as we're on the air as well. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count, and that one's fouled off once again by Babula. She'll see at least one more 2-2 pitch. The Dolphins yesterday picking up a pair of wins, a huge win over CCNY. I believe they scored 21 runs in that game, breaking a conference record for runs scored in a tournament game. Then they picked up a second victory last night against John Jay, a team that defeated them last week on Thursday in a very entertaining game. John Jay won that affair 6-4. The Dolphins avenging that defeat last night. Comes another 2-2, and that's pulled out deep into the right field corner. It one hops the wall. Bibula turns first and will slide into second safely with a 2-out double. So after a string of one-pitch outs, Caroline Bibula brings that to a loud conclusion with a 2-out double that one hopped the wall in the right field corner, and yet another opportunity for the Hawks to extend their lead, a runner in scoring position and 2 outs.
Yeah, that was a good at-bat that time, Joe, by the freshman pitcher. She worked the count, got a pitch she could handle inside, turned on it, and drove it deep down the right field line, and gives Hunter College an opportunity with Taylor Crofts and with a runner in scoring position and 2 out.
And Crofts fouls one back, so she's behind 0-1. And you mentioned it, Mike, there. A great at-bat by Bibula, making Nieves work after she retired the first 2 batters on only 2 pitches, just as Bibula retired 3 batters on 3 pitches in the previous half inning. A big run over at second base for the Hawks. And if you're the Lightning, of course, you'd like to keep this deficit at 1. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count on Taylor Crofts.
At the plate, Joe. That's a very big run at second base.
Here comes the 1-1 pitch. And that's lined into left field for a base hit. But Bibula will be held at third base. And advancing to second is Taylor Crofts. So on the throw, Taylor Crofts will take second base. That's a single. Crofts moves up to second base on the throw. Bibula holds at third now with 2 outs. There are 2 runners in scoring position for Samantha Malloy.
And, you know, Joe, Lehman has played pretty well fundamentally here throughout these CUNYAC championships. But that was a mistake by Martinez, throwing the ball directly home, not to the cutoff player out in the field, and that allows Crofts to get into scoring position. So the Hawks have 2 runners in scoring position now with 2 outs.
So it's Samantha Malloy here in a big spot. This could be a game-changing moment. Momentum would certainly swing in the favor of the Lightning should they get out of this without allowing a run. And if the Hawks can drive in a pair or even a single run, I think that would seize control of this game for them, as that one is a fair ball down the left field line. That will bring home 2, as that one is through Linda Resto. No error, of course. She tried to backhand it, and it took a hop right in front of her and over her glove. So credit a double and a pair of RBIs to Samantha Malloy, and the Hunter College Hawks have taken a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. They're not going to score that in error on the play, but it was a play that could have been made at third. So Nieves, who's pitched so well here in this entire 2017 CUNYAC championship, gives up an unearned run in the first inning, and although those 2 runs will be scored as earned runs, she was able to get the ground ball and just couldn't get the backing defensively. Cleanly scored a hit and the correct scoring, and that gives Hunter a 3-0 lead.
Definitely not an easy play there for Resto, but she's been solid over at third base so far here in this tournament. And when that ball was hit, I expected her to make the play, and she's been making strong throws over to first as well, not allowing any easy base runners on.
And I see an error up on the scoreboard, Joe.
That's surprising, but definitely something to consider. As that one's hit out toward left center field, but ranging over to her left and making the catch out there in left field was Martinez for the 3rd out, but not before a trio of base hits, 3 straight for the Hawks, extend their lead by 2 runs. Hunter College 3, Lehman College 0. 6th inning coming up on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. And a change on that last play, as Mike mentioned just prior to the break. An error has been put up on the scoreboard, so that erases a double for Samantha Malloy and turns those 2 runs scored in the bottom half of the 5th into unearned runs. So 3 unearned runs on the board for Hunter College in this game. They lead by a score of 3-0. Lehman College only a single base hit, have committed 3 errors, and those 3 errors have really done them in so far, Mike.
You know, Joe, you got to be really excited about the way that Lehman College has come out and played here in this 2017 CUNYAC Championship. Winning a game yesterday, defeating Hunter College for the first time, and I can't even remember when, and then coming out here this afternoon, just 3 unearned runs allowed so far by the Lightning.
And you hate to see unforced mistakes like that costing them on the scoreboard, but that has been the case here today. As that one's bunted by Linda Resto, she looks to get on to lead off the 6th inning, and she does. So after committing the error over at third base, in the bottom half of the 5th, Resto is on with a bunt single to open up things here in the 6th.
And how big, Joe, do those 2 unearned runs look right now with the speedy Linda Resto down at first base for Lehman College and the top of the order coming up. But what a difference between a 1-0 and a 3-0 lead, Joe.
Absolutely, Mike. And an error was put up on the board right there, so that will go down as an error. As charging in from third base, I believe it was Brianna Monaco attempting to make a play on that. And she slid and fell. She tried to pick up the ball, and that was going to require a bare hand scoop and a strong throw. So error up on the scoreboard, charge to the third baseman, Monaco. And we will have a defensive change for Hunter College. I'll bring that to you in just a moment. I heard the player checking in is Alicia Dovasak, number 19. I believe she has taken over in left field. If I get a clear look, I'll let you know. But Dovasak is in second base, so at second base, it will be Dovasak checking into the game. And that one's hit softly over to first base by Diaz, and Miranda Diaz is retired for the first out as that one was dribbled down the first base line. Advancing to second is Linda Resto.
Joe, that could be the biggest out of the game for Hunter College right there. Retiring Diaz, trading a base for an out, getting Miranda Diaz back to the dugout. That could be her last at-bat of the game here this afternoon. And that run on second base, Joe, means absolutely nothing for Hunter College. So a big out there by the freshman, getting Diaz on one pitch and really sending Hunter College up now with a runner at second base. That really doesn't mean anything, and Arlette Martinez coming up to bat.
Well, the way Lehman has struggled to find offense, you said it, Mike, that run at second base really doesn't mean too much right now. They're still 3 runs down and running out of time. They have 5 outs to play within this game as the first pitch to Arlette Martinez is taken for a ball. And Caroline Babula has really been in control so far here in this game, has only allowed a single base. Behind her have put 2 more base runners on, and that one's chopped straight down onto the plate, foul. Count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, Martinez, you know, really a slap hitter, Joe. We mentioned before that in 2017, just 1 extra base hit, 1 double.
And that one is a drag bunt attempt that appeared, and it's fouled off. So Martinez now behind in the count 1-2. And a ball in the infield won't bring home a run here, so you're counting on Martinez getting on with that approach at the plate. And given the Hawks' defense on the infield with the corners way in, I just don't see how that could happen. Maybe a drag bunt, but that's about it. As the 1-2 is slapped on the ground over to short. And Martinez is retired. A strong throw there over to first by Durso. And there are 2 away.
Yeah, once again, Hunter gladly exchanging an out for a base, as now it's Resto getting her way down to third base now with 2 out, and that'll bring up Caitlin Vernon. Vernon hit one of the hardest balls of the game against Babula, driving the left fielder Malloy back to the wall before she made the catch. She's 0 for 1 and a walk.
Well, I think if you're Lehman College here and you want to maintain positive morale in the dugout and really feel good about yourselves going into the bottom half of the 6th and ultimately the 7th, you really need to get this run home from third base, especially now. If you look ahead, it would be 4, 5, and 6 due up. You're far from the top of that batting order, the most dangerous part of that batting order. And if you go into that last half inning trailing by 3 runs, it's going to be a difficult road back. And Vernon lines one into center field for an extra base hit. It will go all the way to the wall, taking the turnaround second, and into third is Vernon with an RBI triple. The first run of the game for Lehman College comes home on only their second base hit of the game. They now trail by 2, our score 3-1.
Yeah, so now it's going to be Lehman College's turn, Joe, to pick up an unearned run here in the top half of the 6th inning. And, you know, one little misplay here, and Lehman College could get right back to within a run. Once again, highlighting the importance of that big 2-run error against Samantha Malloy, I should say, in the bottom half of the 5th inning.
So a big error over at third base by Linda Resto in the previous half inning looms even larger, as now it's Yada Nieves with a chance to help herself out here. Her team trailing by 2, the count even at 1-1. Runner on third is Vernon.
Sorry, Joe. Nieves with the first Lehman College hit this afternoon. She's 1 for 2.
And that's a check swing. It looked like she went around, but she has not been rung up yet, and she is by the first base umpire. So that's strike 2. And now Nieves will have to fight back from behind in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. And that just misses. And it looked like Bibula took a step toward the dugout there.
That was an awful close pitch that time taken by Nieves. Deuces wild, 2-2-2.
Here comes the pitch. And a very similar pitch. Misses just off the outside corner. I think that one missed by a bit of a wider margin. And the count on Nieves is now full. Should she reach, the tying run will be on base. Payoff pitch upcoming. Here it is. And that misses high for ball 4. So Nieves draws the 2-out walk. Runners now on the corners for Lehman College. 2 outs. And it will be Jules Reynoso, the designated player, coming to bat.
Yeah, so just when you thought, Joe, that Hunter might have finally put Lehman College in their rearview mirror, the Lightnings have other ideas as they get a 2-out triple by Caitlin Vernon and now a base on balls to put the tying runs on.
Well, this game has gotten a lot more interesting as Nieves will steal second base. They attempted to force a throw home. No throw, force a throw to second base from home. And hopefully for Lehman allow the run to come in from third, but the Hawks don't bite. Now 2 in scoring position as Reynoso takes a called strike, evening the count at 1-1, and I'm not sure where Nieves is going, taking that big of a lead off second following the pitch.
You know, Joe, with 2 runners in scoring position and 2 outs, that's a very dangerous kind of play at second base by Nieves.
Big spot here for Reynoso, and she takes another ball out of the zone. Count, I believe it's 2-1.
Yes, that's right, Joe.
2-1 is correct. 2-1 the count. Scoreboard read otherwise for just a moment. Here comes Bibula's 2-1 pitch. Hit softly on the ground, foul. Count once again, 2 balls, 2 strikes. As you said before, Mike, deuces wild, 1. 2 outs here in the top half of the 6th. Lightning with their best opportunity to get even. 2 in scoring position. Here comes the 2-2. Popped up on the infield. And the play is made over at second base by Dovisak for the final out here in the top half of the 6th, but not before the Lightning get on the board. For the first time here today, they put up a single run on only a single base hit, an error in the field by Hunter College, prolonging the inning. Our score heading into the bottom half of the 6th, Hunter 3, Lehman 1 here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com. And we're back here on CSI Sports, and as things got a lot more interesting in the top half of the sixth, it really looked like Lehman College wasn't going to find any offense in this game. They only had a single base hit through the first 5 innings, but then in the sixth, they pick up their first extra base hit off the bat of Caitlin Vernon. That was made possible by an error in the field, which allowed Linda Resto to reach, opening up the top half of the sixth. Had it not been for that error, Vernon would have never came to bat with a runner on, but instead, her extra base hit, a triple, puts the first Lehman College run on the board. Then with Vernon at third, Yada Nieves drew a walk and stole second base, putting 2 in scoring position with 2 outs for Jules Reynoso. Reynoso popped up on the infield, and we stand now with a 3-1 score entering the bottom half of the sixth.
You know, Joe, you got to be really impressed with the way that Lehman College has played here throughout this CUNYAC championship over the last couple of days. And, you know, a nice bounce-back inning in the 6th inning, and they get the tying runs in scoring position before Reynoso pops out. So nice job of battling by Lehman College as they're going to try to get down by 2 into the 7th.
And that one is fouled back by Stephanie Abolt, who is 1 for 2, singled back in the first inning. She's behind in the count 0-1 here. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That's taken out of the zone for ball 1, evening the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, I talked about it in the previous half inning, how important it was for Lehman College to work further into their batting order and give the top of the order a potential chance to come to the plate one more time. It would take, I believe, 2 base runners to get Miranda Diaz another at-bat in this game, so she could potentially bat as the go-ahead run. We're still a ways away from considering that, as the count is 2-1 on Abolt, who rips one into left field, and that's played on a hop out there by Martinez. So Abolt is on with a leadoff single, and that will bring up Alana Veza.
Yeah, so Abolt's had a good game here in this opening game on Championship Sunday, 2 for 3, and she's on first base with no one out, and with the score 3-1, Hunter looking for more offense here in the 6th.
And it's getting a bit more windy out here with a drizzle starting to come down here at the CSI softball complex. And that's hit hard into the glove of Resto, who throws to second to get the lead runner, and then a takeout slide over at second base. That one took down Michaela Hamlet, the second baseman who was covering. She appears to be okay.
Yeah, Hamlet was actually slid into that time by a Bolt, and a Bolt will be forced for the first out. Now, so it'll be a runner at first base now with 1 out.
And that's as much of a takeout slide as I've seen, as that one. That play had already been decided over at second base. The slide, though, prevents a relay throw. Not that I think it would have made a difference, and I think Hamlet might have eaten that ball. Either way, it brings up Annalise McClellan. And she takes a called strike as the rain starts to come down a bit harder. We're still at the point of a drizzle right now. It's becoming a little more steady. 0-1 the count on McClellan. The runner on first is Veza, who just reached on the fielder's choice. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's popped up foul. And quickly in a 2-strike hole is McClellan. Just taking a moment here to cover our equipment, protected from the elements out here right now as the rain is picking up. The 0-2 pitch misses outside. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes on McClellan. Hunter College looking for insurance here in the top of the 7th. Or I should say the bottom of the 6th, excuse me. And that one bounces in for ball 2, so the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nieves continuing to work at a very deliberate pace, taking constant glances over toward the dugout for what we believe to be the pitch calls. Here comes the 2-2. And that's lined into the glove of Resto. Softly hit line drive off the bat of McClellan, and Resto attempted to throw behind the runner over at first and pick up the double play, but getting back to first safely is Veza. There are 2 away.
So Nieves is now 1 out away from getting the Lightning back into the dugout, allowing no earned runs in this first round of the championship game. Great performance by Nieves.
The rain continues to pick up here at the CSI softball complex as Brianna Monaco steps into the box and takes ball 1. Monaco 0 for 2 in this one. And it's up to her to keep this half inning alive for the Hawks. Here comes the 1-0. It's hit on the ground softly to second, and it's booted by the second baseman, Hamlet, off of her cleat. And then a throw over to third, attempting to cut down the runner, Veza, who slides into third base safely. Advancing on that throw to third is the back runner, Monaco, and it looks like the fans here in attendance are baffled by the call at third base. It was awfully close, but sliding in safely, according to the third base umpire, was Veza. They'll discuss it. Did you see anything I didn't there, Mike?
I thought she was safe, Joe. So I thought the umpire made the correct call on the play. But once again, a tough break for Nieves as she gets the hard ground ball hit right at Hamlet at second base. It goes through her legs, and that's going to force Nieves to get another out here against Brittany Salvador with 2 runners on, and a base hit here could really open up this one for Hunter College.
I think a base hit here would be backbreaking for Lehman College, and they could find themselves down by as many as 4 runs should Hunter come through with a big 2-out hit here. And Brittany Salvador was taken out of the game in favor of Alicia Dovisak, and Dovisak will be the batter. She had the big final putout in the previous half inning to retire the Lightning, and a conversation is still ongoing on the infield here now between the Lehman coach and the home plate umpire. But I'm with you, Mike. I thought they made the right call over at third base, so there will be no change in the call, of course. And it looks like the coach for Lehman got a satisfactory explanation. So it will be Alicia Dovisak, the batter. 2 outs here, bottom of the 6th. Hunter College looking to extend their lead. Our score right now is Hunter 3 and Lehman 1. That could change with this at bat right here. And the first pitch to Dovasak's in for a called strike.
Of course, it doesn't make any difference, Joe, in the scoring, but regardless of what happens the rest of this inning, Nieves will not allow an earned run here in the 6th.
Here comes the 0-1, and that misses outside, evening up the count at 1-1. Right now, it feels as if the rain has either come, or is coming down much more lightly, or has stopped. So the weather is fluctuating quite a bit here at the CSI softball complex. Here's the 1-1, hit on the ground towards short. Scooping it up is Diaz. Her throw is low, but it is picked out of the dirt over there at first base. Nicely done by Angelina Gill, and that will retire the side here in the bottom half of the 6th. So with that third out, the Lightning keep this deficit at 2. They will need at least 2 more to send us into the bottom half of the 7th and prolong this game. Our score, the Hawks of Hunter College 3 and the Lightning of Lehman College 1. Top half of the 7th and potentially final inning of this game when we return here on CSI Sportsnet at CSI.com. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet, top half of the 7th inning, potentially the final half inning in the season of the Lehman College Lightning. If they fail to score 2 runs, that inning is about to get started here. And stepping into the box to lead things off for the Lightning is the first baseman, Angelina Gill, who made a great play scooping out that throw from shortstop to wrap up the previous half inning.
And, regardless of what happens here in the 7th, Joe, a lot to look forward to if you're a Lehman College softball fan. A great job done by the Lightning here today. A great job done by Nieves out on the mound. And, they're trailing 3-1 in a game where they have not allowed Hunter an earned run.
And that's taken for a ball, which brings the count to 2-0. So Gill quickly ahead in the count. Not how you wanted to start this inning if you're Caroline Babula. And the 2-0 is hit sharply on the ground towards short, but making the play over there is Durso. And Angelina Gill is retired for the first out here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, and Babula, who's pitched under pressure all game long, Joe, gets the first out on a 2-0 pitch and now has the Hawks 2 outs away from advancing into the championship round against the Dolphins for the 2nd year in a row.
So we're 2 outs away from a rematch of last year's championship final between the Hawks and Dolphins. We will have a pinch hitter for Lehman College. That's Genesis Paulino, the sophomore.
Paulino coming into today's game batting .273, Joe. She's got 6 hits and 22 at-bats, 2 doubles, and 5 RBIs.
And Paulino takes a called strike. She's behind 0-1. Caroline Babula looking to go the distance for the Hawks of Hunter College. She's 2 outs away from doing so, and once again, behind in the count, 2-0.
Joe, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit more of a gap in between games. The Dolphins are going to have to come out and be able to warm up, so I bet we're probably looking at 30, 45 minutes in between games, but we'll check with the CUNY officials at the conclusion of the game.
And that one's fouled away. The count on the scoreboard reads 1-2. Well, the count read 2-0 initially, and then
1-2 is correct, Joe.
Switched over to 1-2. So 1-2 is the count, and that is swung on and missed by Paulino for strike 3, and the Lightning are now down to their final out. It will be Michaela Hamlet coming to bat.
Yeah, Hamlet, the freshman second baseman for the Hawks here. She reached base on a strikeout and a pass ball and bounced back to the mound, so she's 0 for 2 here this afternoon.
So Hamlet will look to pick up her first base hit and reach base for the second time. She did get on after she struck out, and then a pass ball allowed her to take first base. And the first pitch she sees is fouled right back at us and off the fence for strike 1.
Babula looking to even her record at 5-5 with her biggest win of her career.
And that one is hit softly on the infield. It's bobbled over at second base by Dovisak, and the Lightning are still alive here with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Linda Resto will come to bat. And Mike, that was an easy 3rd out right there, and Dovisak just bobbled the ball, which gives the Lightning a chance here now, trailing by 2 runs, the tying run at the plate in the form of Linda Resto.
Yeah, and Dovisak was a deep defensive replacement, Joe, in the 6th inning for Hunter College. She commits the Hawks' 3rd error and will at least give the Lightning a chance to swing the bat with the tying run at the plate and 2 outs.
So it will be Linda Resto, who committed the 2-run error earlier, and attempting to steal there and take second base is Hamlet on the ball that just got away. She is gunned down, and the Hunter College Hawks will advance to the CUNYAC Softball Championship Finals to take on the College of Staten Island for the 2nd year in a row. They defeat the Lightning of Lehman College by a score of 3-1.
Joe, Lehman College gave Hunter everything they wanted here in this championship game, but a little bit of a base running mistake that time by Lehman College. You never want to get caught. You're not even the tying run, and you get thrown out at second base for the final out. But it was a great opening to Championship Sunday here this afternoon. A great win for Caroline Babula as she evens her record up at 5-5. And, that sets things up for what we thought we were going to get all along. Number 1 against number 2, the College of Staten Island versus Hunter College as CSI looks to win their 5th CUNYAC championship in a row.
So it will be the Dolphins and the Hawks coming up when we return on CSI Sportsnet. The final line in this game is no longer on the scoreboard, so I can't share that with you, but once again, Mike, a good game between these two teams. It was thoroughly entertaining from start to finish. A very strong effort on the mound by Yade Nieves. She was impressive throughout the entirety of this CUNYAC tournament. For the Hunter College Hawks as well, Caroline Bibula pitched a great game, escaped some trouble with 2 runners on in scoring position. That was in the top half of the 6th, the best chance for the Lightning to get even in this game. And the Lightning gave a very strong accounting of themselves as a whole as well. They should be very proud of what they accomplished in this year's tournament.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Joe. It was a great performance by the Lightning, and, a nice job by Hunter College. They faced 2 elimination games, but they have battled their way back, and they will have an opportunity to face CSI, a CSI Dolphin team that has already shattered their season record 4 wins. They're up to 33, and they will look to win their 5th CUNYAC championship in a row.
Well, this Dolphins team, a very prolific offensive team, and they'll need a strong effort in the circle from whomever they put in that position next game. Will the Hawks? And again, the Dolphins come in, one of their best seasons in history. It will be a very tough matchup for the Hawks. The Dolphins shut out the Hawks in the CUNYAC championship final last year, and it should be an interesting CUNYAC softball championship final at the very least. Coming up later, I do have some stats for you in this game, and I'll give you the final box score quickly. For Hunter College in this game, the Hawks, 3 runs on 6 hits, 3 errors, and the Lightning, 1 run on 2 hits and 4 errors. So this has been Joe Foreman for my colleague Mike Babuski and the rest of us here at the CSI Softball Complex. Thank you for listening. We will be back on the air later at approximately 1:15 for the first pitch of the CUNYAC Softball Championship Final between the Hawks of Hunter College and the College of Staten Island Dolphins. Rejoin us later, and thanks for listening, everybody.
We are live from the softball complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island as we are about 10 or 15 minutes away from the championship round here on Championship Sunday of the 2017 CUNYAC Softball Championships. This afternoon, the College of Staten Island will face Hunter College in a possible double elimination tournament as the College of Staten Island looks to win their 5th consecutive CUNYAC championship. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Babuski along with Joe Foreman. And, Joe, we've been here all weekend long. We've seen the first 5 games of the tournament. We watched the Dolphins roll through a couple of games yesterday in the first game and the final game of the 4 games. And we saw Hunter College face double elimination, and they've managed to advance into this final round. So a big afternoon of softball as the College of Staten Island looks to win their 5th consecutive championship in a run, Joe, where they have not lost a single game in the CUNYAC tournament.
It's been a very impressive run for the Dolphins over the last several years, and going back to last year when I started covering Dolphins softball, they have not, or I should say, Jackie Cartella has not allowed a run during CUNYAC tournament play. Yesterday was the first run I'd seen the Dolphins allow at all in CUNYAC tournament play, and that was on a pair of fluke base hits back in the first inning. We talked about that at length yesterday. For those not listening, the Lightning of Lehman College picked up a pair of soft base hits that didn't leave the infield. They traveled a combined 20 feet off of Allison Marr, and one of those base hits, the runner ultimately came around to score the only Lightning run in a game the Dolphins won 9-1 for the right to advance into CUNYAC tournament play today.
So, Joe, let's talk a little bit about this CSI Dolphin team here for a couple of minutes. This is a team that's already shattered their total wins for the season. They're now 33-7 on the year, and they've really been firing on all cylinders all year long. A team ERA barely over a run, and it'll be Jackie Cartella going to the mound for the Dolphins here this afternoon with a 14-3 record coming in her senior season, Joe, with a chance to pitch the Dolphins to their 5th consecutive CUNYAC championship.
And in addition to those 14 wins, she's appeared in 17 games, started all 17, of course. 16 of those complete games, including 5 shutouts, 109 innings pitched. A spectacular year for Jackie Cartella and this Dolphins team. You mentioned the team ERA, just over 1, a team batting average of nearly .350. In the top of this order, you have, I believe it is 6 players hitting well over 300, those being Patricia Riches, Antoinette Galbo, Vanessa Joya, Christy Colangelo, Jackie Cartella, and Ashley Natero. So the Dolphins have been thoroughly impressive this season, both at the plate and in the circle, and they look to see that culminate with the CUNYAC championship here today.
Yeah, and Joe, it's a team that has quite a bit of power as well. They have 59 doubles in 40 games to go with 15 triples and 22 home runs. So, this is a team that could beat you with small ball, beat you with big ball, but are always coming out and have been firing on all cylinders all year long. And, they're going to need to be firing on all cylinders here today, Joe, because they're going to be playing a very tough Hunter College team here this afternoon.
And we saw a pair of competitive games between these two teams earlier this season. I'll try and pull up the numbers from those games in a few moments. But going back to what you were saying, the Dolphins can beat you with extra base hits, stringing together several consecutive hits. They can also manufacture runs on the base paths and play small ball, but primarily it's those extra base hits and those big blasts. We saw Vanessa Joya hit a home run yesterday. The Dolphins hit several home runs during the season. I believe they broke a team record. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. They came awfully close if they didn't, but the Dolphins hit quite a few home runs this year, coming awfully close to a team record that they did not break. I just had that confirmed for me. But the Dolphins' offense this year, thoroughly impressive. In the circle, just as impressive. And as I said, they look to see that culminate in the CUNYAC championship here today.
Yeah, and of course the Dolphins now have freshman shortstop Patricia Riches coming into the championship game, batting .541 on the year, Joe, with 5 home runs and 46 RBI. So in addition to playing a fabulous shortstop, a batting average well over 500 and an on-base percentage right at 600. So a very impressive freshman year for the shortstop.
And Patricia Riches has been a huge part of what the Dolphins have done this season. You mentioned the offensive numbers and how well she's done at the plate, but she's also been a force in the field. We saw her make some great plays throughout this season. Did commit an error yesterday on a non-routine play, not an easy play, but we also saw some very strong throws over there. A great arm at shortstop, also great range. She gets it done in all aspects of her game for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and, Joe, we mentioned before it'll be Jackie Cortella going to the mound in a game that is a must-win for Hunter College, and the Dolphins would need to be defeated twice here to relinquish their CUNYAC championship. And, not surprisingly, Joe, the Dolphins head coach Stella Porto sending out the veteran, Jackie Cortella, the Dolphins' leading pitcher in wins this year, coming in 14-3, and it's going to be Cortella's game here to try to win their 5th consecutive championship.
And it's no surprise that we see Jackie Cortella here in this game today after we saw Allison Marr and Nicolette Trapani yesterday. The Dolphins, of course, want to close this championship round out, just playing a single game. And just going back to the point of Jackie Cortella and her dominance this season, in her start against the Hawks earlier this season, I have the numbers from those 2 games now, and in Cortella's start against the Hawks, a win, of course, earlier this season. She pitched only 5 innings. The Dolphins invoking the mercy rule with a 10-0 victory. Cortella allowed 2 hits, no runs, struck out 3, only needed 63 pitches to get through 5 innings, and she completely shut down this Hawks lineup the first time she saw them earlier this season. She'll look to do that once again here today.
Yeah, and, for those of you who remember last year in the championship game, it was Cortella pitching the no-hitter that led the Dolphins to their 4th consecutive CUNYAC championship. And, a lot on the line here this afternoon, Joe. An automatic bid to the NCAA Division III tournament goes to the winner of the CUNYAC conference. And, the Dolphins looking to make a repeat appearance in this NCAA tournament. The last couple of years, they've been able to win a game each year in the tournament. And, they're looking forward to improving their showing here in 2017.
Of course, I saw the live stream of last year's tournament game. It was a close game that I watched. The Dolphins, unfortunately, came up short in that game, and they look to do better this year. A team that we've mentioned, after being impressed by the Dolphins last year, has impressed us even more this year. And just going back to today's matchup for a moment, the starter for the Hawks, Leanna Donahue, did pitch against the Dolphins earlier this season. In the second game between these two teams, the Dolphins won that game by a score of 5-2. In that game, Donahue allowed 11 hits, 5 runs, 4 of those earned over 6 innings, walking 1, did not record a strikeout, and threw 77 pitches. But after having the mercy rule invoked against them, the Hawks went the distance, 7 full innings against the Dolphins in the first game, though they did lose by a score of 5-2. Performed much better at the plate in that game after only a couple of hits off Jackie Cortella in the first game. They had 7 hits in the second game of that doubleheader on that particular day against the Dolphins. That doubleheader was played back on April 15th. So they'll need a performance more similar to the second game of that doubleheader. They'll have to get it done at the plate and do a much better job swinging the bats if they're going to be able to force a game 2.
And Leanna Donahue pitched in this CUNYAC tournament. She started in the second game for Hunter College yesterday. That was the elimination game against Baruch College, and she pitched pretty well in that game, Joe. And, Hunter has their pitching pretty much set up the way they want it. They need to win 2 consecutive games, so a lot of pressure on the Hunter College Hawks. But we've seen this CSI Dolphin team come into the championship finals needing 3 wins on a single day and be able to do it. And the Dolphins are going to have to be on their toes here this afternoon. They come in as a solid favorite, but need to play well right out of the gate here this afternoon.
And Hunter really struggled outside the CUNYAC conference this season, did pick up a big win against Montclair. But I do believe that at the time that they came here and played the Dolphins, they had no more than a single win outside of the CUNYAC conference, and they'll have to win at least 2 more in the CUNYAC here today, defeating the Dolphins in a pair of games in order to secure themselves a CUNYAC championship. And taking a look at what they've done here in this tournament, it's going to come down to offense for them. They've had the pitching against Lehman College, allowing only 4 runs, not too bad, especially considering those runs were scored as the result of some errors in the field. It wasn't necessarily the pitching that allowed those 2 runs. So at the plate, they need to do a bit of a better job. Of course, the mercy rule was invoked in their favor against Baruch. A big win for them yesterday, eliminating the Bearcats. But here today against the Dolphins, they need to get through game 1 just to have a chance to play in a game that would win them a championship. And Jackie Cortella stands between them and that opportunity. And Cautela, as we mentioned before, very strong against the Hawks this year. And for them to improve on their performance in this tournament at the plate thus far, it won't be easy against Cautela.
Yeah, and, as we've seen here in this tournament, Joe, anything can happen. And, you get into these games and, every single play has its own importance to it. So, important for the Dolphins to come out and play well, especially in the top half of the first inning. The only run that they allowed yesterday in the doubleheader was in that first inning against Lehman College in their second game yesterday afternoon. So Dolphins really just need to do what they've been doing all season long, Joe. And if they do that, they should put themselves in a pretty solid position here this afternoon.
They should. And the Dolphins have really been killing the ball this season. A ton of extra base hits, as you mentioned before. We mentioned all of the home runs as well. And that's been something that's worked well for them all season long. And aside from that, they've had very strong pitching. There's really no negatives that we can bring up about the Dolphins overall this season. And the only thing I can think of is that they slowed down a bit toward the end of the season offensively. They made some mistakes in the field, but nothing that's overly concerning. We're nitpicking at that point. The Dolphins were spectacular from start to finish this season, and they look to see that culminate with a championship here today.
Yeah, and Joe, they say it always comes down to pitching and defense, and this is a pitching staff with a team ERA of 1.03 on the year, and in 40 games they've only committed 34 errors. So they played well in the field. They've pitched great in the circle. They've hit the softball very well, and they're coming into today's game this afternoon undefeated in CUNYAC play in 2017 and looking for their 5th consecutive CUNYAC championship. So Hunter College is being introduced on the field right now. Jackie Cautela is getting ready with her final warm-up tosses in the dugout now, ready for the game. And here to bring you the starting lineup that she will face here this afternoon, my broadcast partner, Joe Foreman. Joe?
All right, thank you, Mike. The lineup that will be facing Jackie Cautela for the Hunter College Hawks in this CUNYAC softball championship final is as follows. Leading off, the designated player, number 2, Caroline Bibula. Batting second, the center fielder, number 5, Taylor Crofts. In left field and batting third, number 11, Samantha Malloy. In the Victoria Slavic. Batting fifth, the first baseman, number 10, Stephanie Abelt. Number 21, Brittany Salvador. Batting eighth and playing third base is number 3, Brianna Monaco. And batting ninth and playing shortstop is number 13, Jamie Durso.
So not really any surprises, Joe, in the Hunter College lineup here in this game, the first game of the championship round of the tournament. They have Donahue out on the mound. She pitched very well in the game against Baruch yesterday. Other than that, the same players that we've been seeing all tournament long. The only difference has been Malloy playing in left field, and she's been there since the second game of the tournament for Hunter College. So solid lineup here for Hunter College, and the Dolphins now getting introduced on the field here, Joe, this afternoon. And interesting, the Dolphins coming out in their black uniforms here this afternoon.
Yeah, I thought the Dolphins might be wearing their black uniforms today when I saw Hunter College arrive this morning wearing their white uniforms. So the Dolphins will indeed be going with the black uniforms. And speaking of the Dolphins, I do have the numbers on the starting pitcher they will face. That's Leanna Donahue for the Hawks. So for Donahue on the season, she's pitched to a 5.55 ERA, has a record of 3 wins and 5 losses, has appeared in 12 games, started 7 of them, pitched 4 complete games, and in 51 2/3 innings, she's allowed 88 hits, 53 runs, 41 of those earned. She's walked 15 and struck out 19 in 243 at-bats, opponents hitting at 362 against her.
And, Joe, let's take a little bit of a minute and talk about Hunter College's road here to this championship round. It wasn't an easy one. They dropped their first game in the tournament against Lehman College, as Lehman was able to score the upset win, and that meant they needed to play in 2 elimination games, 1 elimination game yesterday and another one today, and they played very well in both of those games, Joe, to advance here into the final round.
They did. After a disappointing performance against Lehman College, scoring only 1 run and miscues in the field accompanying that, they were able to really show why that they were expected to be here. I think most people expected to see a Hunter CSI final, and Hunter really reasserted themselves with a pair of solid victories yesterday over Baruch and then today over Lehman College, though. In the game today against Lehman, the Lightning really gave them a competitive game. It was a thoroughly entertaining game, as I've said so many times this season, a lot of competitive baseball and softball that I've covered. But in that game, the Lightning had 2 runners in scoring position late with a chance to drive in. The 2 tying runs failed to do so, and now the Hawks find themselves following that victory in a championship round game against the College of Staten Island. As we've mentioned several times already, the Hawks have to win twice in order to secure a championship. The Dolphins only once.
And, you know, Joe, you never know how teams are going to react when they get into the championship round, but this is a CSI softball team with a lot of experience, especially out on the pitcher's mound here for today's game. Absolutely,
and we've said it several times already. Jackie Cautela has been solid for the Dolphins all season long, a tremendous career here at the College of Staten Island, and in all likelihood, if she can do what she's done all season long and duplicate the success she's had against Hunter College, that career will not end here today. It will end with an NCAA tournament game. We'll see how far the Dolphins go. That's something to talk about later. But, of course, the Dolphins have their sights set on the CUNYAC championship here this afternoon, and only one win stands between them and securing yet another championship.
The CSI Dolphins coming in with a record of 33-7 on the year. Hunter College evening their record up now at 15-15 as we get ready for the opening game of the championship round. Hunter would have to defeat the Dolphins twice, I should say. The Dolphins can eliminate Hunter with a win in this game here this afternoon. And, you know, Joe, we got to watch the entire tournament here so far. And, you know, one of the most impressive things was really the way that Lehman College played in this tournament. And they played so well in the field defensively and got great pitching throughout the tournament, and really performed well and gave Hunter everything they wanted here earlier this afternoon.
I said it yesterday. It really highlights why these games are played. So many people just assumed it would be Hunter CSI, but Lehman came on very strong yesterday, picking up their first win over Hunter College in what I believe we were told was 15 years. It had been quite a long time, so it wasn't exactly 15 years. But either way, a huge win for the Lehman College softball program, and then they gave a very strong showing here today as well. They only lost by 2 runs and had an opportunity to tie that game late in the 6th inning. They failed to do so, but still a very strong effort. And just while we're on the topic of these championship tournaments very quickly, I do have a score update from just up the hill at baseball. The College of Staten Island men's baseball team leads Baruch College by a score of 2-0 in the top of the 8th inning. Baruch is coming to bat in the top of the 8th. The Dolphins need a pair of victories to secure a baseball CUNYAC championship, while Baruch only needs a single victory.
So the Dolphins baseball team tried to come all the way back after losing the opening game of the tournament, has put themselves in a position leading late in the first game in their championship round at the CSI baseball complex. For the CSI Dolphins, they have taken the field, so let's give you the Dolphin lineup here defensively. No surprises. Nicolette Trapani at first, Antoinette Galbo at second, Patricia Riches at short, Allison Ma at third, Vanessa Joya in left, Christy Coangelo in center, and Juliana Cortella around and right. Julie Holmes behind the plate, and Jackie Cortella on the mound for the Dolphins here this afternoon, Joe. So the team that's brought the Dolphins to where they are out in the field here this afternoon and looking to win their 5th consecutive championship.
And they'd love to do that. As we've mentioned several times, they'd like to do so in just a single game. And they're about to get underway here at the CSI softball complex.
So it's going to be Carolyn Babula leading off, and the first pitch is on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Babula picked up the win, her 5th of the season, earlier this afternoon to advance Hunter College to that point, and Cortella's first 2 pitches, Joe, right on the outside corner for strikes, 0-2.
And she's quickly ahead of Babula, who had a base hit and 3 at-bats, scored a run in the earlier game today.
The wind and the 0-2. Ooh, just off the outside corner. 1-2.
And you could hear the fans howling. They wanted that call. The count 1-2.
Cortella looking in. The 1-2 is swung on and grounded to short. Played there by Riches. She guns it over to Trapani in time for the out. So Babula grounds out 6-3 for the first out, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Taylor Crofts.
That's exactly how you want to see this game start. If you're the Dolphins, Hunter College got off to a quick start in the earlier game today, and of course the Dolphins would like to keep them off the scoreboard here in the first inning of this game.
So Crofts will be the batter. As Cortella looks in for the sign, her first pitch is swung on and fouled back out of play, and the count goes to 0-1.
And interestingly, Crofts will start this at bat in the right-hand hitter's batter's box. We saw her starting in the opposite batter's box, attempting to slap the ball in the last game.
Cortella's 0-1 pitch is going to be down low for a ball, 1-1. One ball, one strike, just underway. And the 1-1 is going to be swung on and fouled back out of play, and the count goes to 1-2. The CSI Dolphins have not lost a game in these CUNYAC championships since the 2012 finals, when they dropped the final game to Baruch College. As that pitch is going to be down low for a ball, 2-2.
Saw a lot of good at-bats from the Hawks last game, also from the Lightning. That trend seems to be continuing right now.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes here. We're just underway in the top half of the first inning. Hunter College advanced to this game by defeating Lehman earlier this afternoon, as that's going to be fouled back to the screen, and the count holds at 2-2.
And a battle brewing here between Cortella and Crofts. One out here in the top of the first.
Sun trying to peek through here at the CSI softball complex. So far we've been pretty fortunate with the weather. Hopefully we can make it through another game. And the pitch is swung on and grounded hard down the third base line, foul. And the count will hold at 2-2.
Outside of about 5 minutes of decent rain, pretty hard rain for a few moments. We have been fortunate with the weather, but still far less than ideal conditions for softball here today as opposed to yesterday, where it was a beautiful day.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes to count once again. The 2-2 is swung on and grounded back to the mound. Cortella plays and gets it over to first base in time for the out. 2 up, 2 down for the Hawks, and that'll bring up Samantha Malloy. And, you know, one of the things Cortella does very well, Joe, is field her position in the circle.
And I was about to say, Mike, that was a great job by Cortella. Perhaps could have let that ball roll, let Riches make the play, but instead she made a strong backhanded stop, handled it cleanly, and then made a throw right on target to first. And, of course, Cortella plays second base as well.
So Samantha Malloy, the batter, she swings and misses at the first pitch, 0-1. She came into the games here this afternoon batting .309 on the year with a homer and 15 RBIs. And the 0-1 is swung on and blooped foul down the first base line out of play. So Cortella quickly ahead in the count now, 0-2.
And going back to the point of Cortella playing second base, a lot of pitchers can't throw to bases. We see that more often in baseball, more so than in softball. But Cortella plays a ton of second base, more than comfortable making those throws across the diamond.
The 0-2 pitch, just down low for a ball. That'll make the count now 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs here for the Hawks, just underway. And the pitch is a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Cortella gets Malloy to chase, and Hunter College goes down in order in their half of the first inning. Nothing across, 1 half inning in the books. Hawks nothing, Dolphins coming to bat. We'll step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back as we head to the bottom half of the first inning. Jacqueline Cortella retires the Hunter College Hawks in order. And here for Hunter, it'll be Leanna Donahue out on the mound, and she will face a starting lineup that has been hot all year long and is batting .352 as a team. And here to bring you that starting lineup, my broadcast partner, Joe Foreman. Joe?
All right, thank you, Mike. Leading off for the Dolphins, the pitcher, number 22, Jacqueline Cortella. Batting second is the second baseman, number 3, Antoinette Galbo. In the 3 spot, the shortstop, number 13, Patricia Riches. Batting cleanup is the left fielder, number 26, Vanessa Joya. Batting 5th, the center fielder, number 12, Christy Colangelo. Batting 6th, the designated player, number 11, Ashley Natero. Batting 7th, the catcher, number 14, Jamie Holmes. Batting 8th, the first baseman, number 23, Nicolette Trapani. And batting 9th, the right fielder, number 9, Juliana Cortella.
And it'll be pitcher Jackie Cortella to lead off. And, Cortella was on base every time in both games yesterday except one at-bat, Joe. So Cortella slumped a little bit at the bat late in the season, but came on strong in the CUNYAC championships and looking to get the Dolphins off to a hot start here this afternoon.
And we mentioned the Dolphins thriving at the plate and in the circle. No player personifies that better than Jackie Cortella this season.
Cortella at 366 on the year, and Donahue's first pitch is going to be rifled into right center field, and that's going to be in for a base hit. So Cortella wastes no time lining the first pitch from Donahue into right center field. Good start for the Dolphins. 1 out, nobody on, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Antoinette Galbo.
Jackie Cortella off to a quick start on the mound, a 1-2-3 first inning, and at the plate with that leadoff single for the Dolphins here in the bottom half of the first.
Galbo, second in batting for the Dolphins this year, coming into today's game, batting .393 with 25 RBIs, and the first pitch is going to be down low for a ball, 1-0.
The corners are in for the Hawks. Galbo has been known to lay down a bunt, both in sacrifice situations and for base hits, has been very successful doing so.
1 ball, no strikes to count on Galbo. The wind and the 1-0 is going to be taken outside for a ball, 2-0. Get you the Hawks here defensively. Stephanie Abalta at first base, Brittany Salvador at second, Jamie Dorso at short, Brittany Monaco around at third. Samantha Malloy in left, Taylor Cross in center. As Galbo bunts that one down, it's going to be played there by the first baseman, Bolt, nicely, and she gets it over to Salvador. So Galbo's sacrifice is going to be successful, 3-4. Cortella will go down to second base as Galbo is thrown out by his step, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Patricia Riches.
So the Dolphins quickly have a runner in scoring position for their most prolific hitter, Patricia Riches, who just nearly missed a couple of home runs yesterday, pulling the ball deep down the left field line in foul territory. Chance to drive in a run here.
Donahue's first pitch to Riches is down low for a ball, 1-0. Victoria Slavic in right field. Alana Veza behind the plate, and Leanna Donahue on the mound here for the Hawks, who falls behind Patricia Riches, 1-0. Patricia batting .541 on the year, 5 home runs, 46 RBIs, and that pitch is going to be down low for a ball, 2-0. Cortella, I'm sorry, Joe.
I was going to say behind in the count is not where you want to be against Riches, but there is first base open.
Cortella with a lot of speed at second base, 6 for 6 in stolen bases this year as she swings and drives that one to center field. But Croft strips back, way back, and she makes the catch right in front of the wall. Cortella will tag up and move to third base, so Riches gave that one a ride deep to center field, but Croft's able to go back and make the catch for the second out. And now with 2 outs and a runner on third base, it's going to bring up the left fielder, Vanessa Joya.
And as we mentioned in the pregame, it was Joy with a big blow yesterday, drove in the game-winning run with a solo home run in the Dolphins' victory.
Joya batting .379 on the year. The wind and the pitch is taken just down low for a ball, 1-0. She's 39 for 103. She hit a 5th home run in the game yesterday and drove in a 28th run for the Dolphins. Donahue winds. The pitch to Joy Swan, skied straight up in the air. Down the left field line, drifting over is going to be the shortstop Dorso to make the catch in foul territory for the final out. So for the Dolphins in their half of the first, no runs, a hit. They leave one inning in the books, no score. We'll step aside, take a break. You're watching the 2017 CUNYAC Softball Championships right here on CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com. We're back getting ready now for the top half of the second inning. And, Joe, the Dolphins got a leadoff single from Cortella. They got her sacrifice down to second base, but Riches flew out deep to center field, allowing Cortella to advance to third. But then Vanessa Joya fouled out for the final out of the inning. So 1 inning in the books, no score.
Unfortunate if you're a Dolphins fan, a pair of at-bats with Riches and Joya at the plate and a runner in scoring position. I think if you told any Dolphins fan of that scenario, they would anticipate that the Dolphins would find themselves ahead. Unfortunately for them, that's not the case. Nice job by Hunter College to escape that. A good job in the circle by Leanna Donahue to get out of the first inning unscathed. And for Hunter College here in the top of the second inning, it will be the middle of the batting order, 4, 5, and 6 due up.
So it will be Victoria Slavic to lead off, and Slavic and Cortella have faced each other over the last 4 years, both players seniors. So we'll see how the battle goes here this afternoon. Slavic versus Cortella. And Jacqueline's first pitch is going to be down low for a ball, 1-0.
And in the first game earlier today against Lehman, Slavic was 1 for 3.
Cortella looking in, the 1-0. Is on the outside corner for a strike. That'll even the count up at 1-1.
And I also have another quick score update from up the hill. They're still in the top of the 8th. Baruch has runners on second and third, now trailing 2-1. As
Cortella takes something off of that one, and Slavic fouls it off, and now Cortella gets ahead in the count at 1-2.
And in that top of the 8th, there are 2 outs. Runners on second and third for Baruch against CSI. Baruch trailing 2-1.
Cortella looking in, the 1-2. Just down low, and that'll do. College of Staten Island, for the 5th consecutive time, wins the CUNYAC championship. Jackie Cortella with her 2nd consecutive shutout here in the championship tournament as the College of Staten Island wins by a final score of 5-0.
And an exciting conclusion to this championship tournament. If I sound out of breath, I was running up the hill to reestablish our connection, but a big win for the Dolphins, of course, securing yet another CUNYAC championship. Hunter made it interesting in that final half inning. They load the bases, but Jackie Cortella comes through for the Dolphins, once again delivering in the big spot. Of course, the Dolphins did have a 5-run lead, but it was behind Jackie Cortella not only this season, but throughout her entire Dolphins career that the Dolphins have been able to secure several CUNYAC championships. And I'm going to need some relief from Mike Babuski in this moment. I'm out of breath.
You know, Joe, what a fantastic job by the Dolphins. Once again, they make it through their 5th consecutive championship, and it wasn't easy. And, you know, Hunter College going down like the champions that they are, they were able to load the bases in the final inning. But when it came down to the final at-bat, Bibula grounded it back to the mound, and Cortella was able to get it over to first base. And the College of Staten Island wins their 5th consecutive CUNYAC championship. They will get an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament as Jackie Cortella wins her 15th game of the year, Joe, picks up a shutout on 6 hits, and the College of Staten Island does what they've done all season long. They win another game. They're now 34-7 on the year as they roll into the NCAA tournament. They win all 3 games here in this tournament, and they advance, allowing just 1 run, Joe, in 3 games.
Well, I've only covered this team for 2 years, but you've covered them much longer than I have. You said this is one of the best Dolphins teams you've ever seen, and I can attest to that. It needs to be true. This team was just thoroughly impressive throughout the entirety of the season. Did a great job here in this tournament as well. I'm still a bit out of breath here as I charged up the hill to reestablish our connection. But again, an entertaining tournament, an entertaining game here, and a bit of a finish there that we didn't necessarily expect from Hunter College as they were able to string together some base hits, and the threat was looming, but the Dolphins hold on and win by a score of 5-0.
Yeah, you know, this is a team, Joe, that, you know, came out and came back from their tournament in Orlando with a record over 500 and, you know, really went into an extended winning streak. And, you know, then they came out and they had a little bit of a hiccup against Montclair State, dropping a doubleheader by scores of 1-0 and 2-0. And they went down and played the number 17 Moravian College in the country, and they were able to come away with a split in that doubleheader. And, they came back with a lot of momentum, just lost one game for the rest of the regular season, and really just came out firing on all cylinders here in this CUNYAC championship, continued to play very well. And, once again, Joe, when you have three different starting pitchers go and you only allow one run in 3 games, that's usually a formula for a lot of success.
And it can't be understated how valuable it was to the Dolphins to have 3 starting pitchers that they could rely upon. They were able to save Jackie Cautella for this CUNYAC softball tournament finale. Nicolette Trapani and Allison Marr pitched yesterday, and they had great seasons as well. Did a great job yesterday, only a run allowed between the two of them. We've already spoken several times how that first inning run was on a couple of balls that didn't leave the infield. A great job by both Marr and Trapani in this tournament. And, of course, Jackie Cautella here today in the circle for the Dolphins, not only in this tournament but all season long. Also credit the Dolphins at the plate. Several hitters hitting well over 300. I believe the top 6 hitters in today's championship finale batting order all hitting well over 300. A great job by the Dolphins at the plate, in the circle, and in the field. We saw Antoinette Gallo make a great play in this game. Patricia Riches was solid at shortstop all season long, and there were no weak links in that Dolphins defense at all this season. It wasn't often that we could say they made mistakes. A couple of hiccups down the stretch, but they righted the ship following that split with Moravian. As you just mentioned, only 1 loss from that point forward through the end of the season. So a great season culminates in a CUNYAC championship for the Dolphins, and they should be very proud of what they accomplished this year.
Yeah, and Joe, we mentioned this team only committed 34 errors in 41 games, including no errors in this championship game today. And, it's so important, and we saw it throughout the tournament, Joe, how the most innocent-looking error or misplay can turn an inning around. And, the Dolphins did a great job here in this tournament avoiding those kind of mistakes.
And not only did the Dolphins make all of the routine plays that were necessary for them to get to this point, reach the CUNYAC championship, and ultimately win, but they made many exceptional plays as well in the field. It wasn't just the routine plays that they handled cleanly. It was the standout plays that they made throughout the season. That, coupled with great pitching and great hitting, is where we find them now as CUNYAC champions. Those things brought them there.
Yeah, so the College of Staten Island picking up 5 runs on 9 hits in this game. Hunted no runs on 6 hits, including 3 hits in the 7th inning. 1 big error for Hunter College in this game as the College of Staten Island wins by a score of 5-0. And, Hunter College finishes off getting introduced as they come and as the runner-ups here in this 2017 CUNYAC championship. And, Joe, the Dolphins came in with a lot of pressure on. They were the number 1 seeded team in the conference, and, they came out and they played very solid all weekend long, making the plays they needed to make, and ended up winning by a final score of 5-0.
And that pressure applied to them is due in part to Lehman College, which had a very strong showing in this tournament. Did have a lead on the Dolphins for a half inning yesterday before the Dolphins bounced back and tied that game. And then in this game, Hunter College was threatening to tie the Dolphins up as well, had a runner on third base with nobody out. They failed to drive in that run, and then the Dolphins responded by putting a 3 spot up on the scoreboard in the next half inning, which really put the game out of reach for the Hawks once they were down by 4 runs following that demoralizing conclusion to the top half of the 5th. It was difficult to envision them bouncing back, but give them credit. In the last half inning, they got the bases loaded and threatened the Dolphins in that final half inning, but Jackie Cautella does what she has been doing throughout her entire Dolphins career and was able to shut the door on the Hawks, securing the Dolphins CUNYAC championship.
So Jackie Cautella will pick up the win for the Dolphins. She's now 15-4 on the year, as for the 2nd consecutive year she pitches a shutout in the championship game as the College of Staten Island defeats Hunter College by a score of 5-0. And, Joe, as the Dolphins turn the page on another CUNYAC championship, they'll turn their attention until Monday morning, because Monday will be the time of the NCAA selection show, and that's when the Dolphins will find out where they are going to play and who they're going to play against in this 2017 NCAA Division III championship, a NCAA championship round that the Dolphins hope to make some noise in, Joe.
And we'd love to see that happen, of course. Last year it didn't go as the Dolphins would have liked, but this team, as we mentioned, was even more impressive than the team we saw last year. So there's no reason to believe the Dolphins can't make some noise in the opening round. And, of course, you have to start with your aspirations there. And if they find their way beyond that point, it would be great to see that. And then we can start discussing what we expect from them in the later rounds. But this team is a team that has been impressive as the rain really starts to come down here now. They pose for photos on the infield, a team well deserving of a CUNYAC championship and the NCAA tournament berth that comes along with it.
Well, Joe, I was kind of hoping to stay on the air for a couple of minutes and broadcast the award ceremony here, but with the rain falling down and in the interest of protecting the equipment, why don't we take a break right here? But all in all, a great 2017 championship for the Dolphins.
And what we can do here, we'll step aside, get the microphones covered. We'll leave the microphones on so you can pick up some of the noise and the video of the awards ceremony until we disconnect our internet. So again, this is Joe Foreman from Mike Babusky and all of us here at the College of Staten Island. Thank you for listening. The CSI Dolphins are your 2017 CUNYAC softball champions.
Yeah, and Joe, just one final thing before we go off the air. Don't forget to tune in to CSIDolphins.com this Monday to find out where the Dolphins will go, and we're hoping to bring you full coverage right here on CSI Sportsnet for the NCAA tournament, depending, of course, where and when those games are. So have a great afternoon, everybody, and tune in Monday for the CSI NCAA tournament bid.
Number 13, Patricia Riches. Number 14, Jamie Holmes. Number 15, Nicole Miliak. Number 17, Christina Severicio. Number 18, Nicole Busser. Number 21, Alexandra Conan. Number 22, Jacqueline Quatella. Number 23, Nicolette Trapani. Number 26, Vanessa Joya. And number 99, Allison Marr. And now for the coaches. The head coach of the CSI Dolphins, Stella Porto. And now for the assistants, Shirley Matera, Caitlin Kurosha, Gerard Tingos, and Christina Tafano. And now it's time for the 2007 Most Valuable Player Award. Correct, 2017. I take the blame. Please keep in mind, these are statistics from the overall CUNYAC softball tournament. At the plate, she went 4 for 6 with a double. 5 runs scored, 2 RBIs and 4 walks. In the circle, no record in 1 appearance, 1 start, and a complete game. No runs on 3 hits, no walks, and 2 punch-outs in 6 innings of work. Your 2007 CUNYAC softball MVP. 2017 CUNYAC softball MVP is Jacqueline Quatella.
Fins up. Fins up. Broadcasting? You guys done broadcasting?
Fans, we would like to thank everyone for coming out today. We'd love to see you at our next championship event, the 2017 CUNYAC Outdoors Track and Field Championships on May 14th from Icon Stadium.